Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Gaming After Dark for this Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020. Before I get right into the thick of things, I just wanted to say welcome, everybody. Boom, boom, kaboom, Snoop Nukem in the room. Primal Eve is running a little bit late. Apparently, they've got some storms rolling through her area, and she's having a little bit of issues with power. So, yeah, let's hope that she can make it, guys. Crossing my fingers. But hey, if she said she's going to try to get in here, so we'll keep the room open for her. But we do have an amazing special guest. A big welcome back, the return of one of my personal favorites, a guy who's got a lot of flair, a lot of charisma. He speaks his mind. He tells it like it is, but he can make you laugh. And so I want to welcome. I think it might be his first appearance ever on Gaming After Dark. I promise you it won't be his last, but welcome back to Mr. Titan Drago.
Thank you, Boom. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in the room. That's right. I'm in the boom room. Let's do it, man. I'm ready to go.
He is in the room indeed. So welcome, Titan. Good to have you back, brother. Let's give a shout out to the chat first before we find out what the fuck everybody's been up to. We got to give a big shout out to Timothy Dixon, who was first in the house. Tryhard fan, saw him over at the RDX podcast, and he is now in this particular chat. Darko's Dreamers, Juno's 23. What's happening, Juno? Casket Repairs hanging out with us in the house. Spider-Man 356.
Spider L.
Yeah, Spider L. We got the blue one is in the house. Hey, Mr. Wilmy Hood. I got to get Wilmy back on here one of these nights because we got lots of great stuff to talk about. Jesse Darby is in the house. Yeah, Dirt Griggity. What's up, brother? How you doing, guys? Yes, I know it's late in somewhere next to the woods, but we're going to keep this show fast and frantic. That's how we like it. Unless, again, we'll cross our fingers and hope that Primal can show up. But here we go, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Titan, brother, update is what the hell you been at, man? It seemed like you dropped off the face of the planet. Saw you very sporadically in social media here and there, but definitely not the always, up front and out there Titan Drago that we got used to. I know a lot of guys missed you, and but welcome back and glad to have you here tonight. Filling in for Cray Simmons, by the way, who couldn't make it due to work obligations. We hope to get Cray on here maybe next week. We'll just have to see how that goes. So Titan, take it away, man.
Yeah, man, I haven't been in the, up in your face, too much. I've just been basically handing out L's where I can on Twitter. If I see something stupid, I let them know that hey guy, you're stupid about this situation. Kind of things like that. But other than that, it's like it was my computer went down back when we were on the podcast together with Salt. We had it went down, and then the career happened. I got the teaching job, so I really wanted to take that first year and really focus, hone my craft on that. And like I said on last night's show, man, it's crazy. Every time I get into something new, something crazy happens. I joined the Navy back in 2001. 3 days before I go in, we go to war. 9/11 happens, man.
Yep.
I joined the post office, and like that year, it's like the worst winter ever in like 30 years, dude. So on and so forth. And like I come back to podcasting, and Mixer goes down. It's something crazy is happening every freaking time I do something new, dude.
Well, let's hope you don't decide to join the porn industry, because I'm sure they'll all have about a syphilis or something.
There comes some new spawn of AIDS or something comes about.
Oh yeah, there'll be some kind of new sexual disease going around or something like that. Some kind of mutation of COVID virus or something like that. Instead of covering your face, you got to cover your genitals 24/7.
Penis COVID, man. Imagine
shit in the diaper.
The horror.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy was arrested today. That's interesting news. Yes, the good old porn legend himself. Apparently, he's been accused of some sexual assaults and a few different things. So yeah, Primal might be a great one to weigh in on that if she shows up. But yeah, the show will be shorter than Ron Jeremy Schlong. There you go. So. Alrighty. So, what games, Titan, have you been able to dig into the last little while? Like, what's your main jam? Have you been able to play any new games, and what are you excited for?
Dude, have we gotten a win playing Modern Warfare together? I'm not sure. I can't recall one.
No, you and
I've,
I only played it a couple of times there, and
mhm.
I think you're
Yeah,
talking about Warzone, right?
yeah, you haven't played very much with us.
I'm not a big fan of the Warzone. I keep telling you
Yeah.
that. I'll play the regular modes, but that one just doesn't jive well with me.
Yeah, I've got over 60 wins now. It's like in the mid 60s for the
Wow.
Warzone. So I've been rocking that out a lot. And I don't know, let me know in the chat if you guys have had it too, if you guys play Warzone, but since the last couple upgrades, and I've been reading different reports about it, but like the consoles, like I used to be able to win 1v1s all the time, and now it's like a real struggle. Like, and I read an article about it, and it said that all these updates and all these, consistent updates to the game are actually bogging the game down with like their repeated assets. There's so many repeated assets that it's actually bogging the game down. So I was wondering if anyone in the chat was having that issue.
Would that explain why what do you call it? The ping levels have been really stupid for some people? Because I know Chase Nightcrawler, he was complaining like the game seemed laggy and all that kind of stuff there a while back.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of things that go into it. Everything from the tick rate. If you guys want to know about tick rate, I would highly suggest searching that up, Googling that. Tick rates, that's pretty interesting. The last Call of Duty game, Treyarch's the Treyarch, their version of Warzone, Blackout. Yeah. Blackout had the same thing, but they increased their tick rate with an update. So I think that this one needs to do the same thing. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, and I just got back into excuse me. Whew, got some indigestion, man. Getting old sucks. But
this episode of Gaming After Dark has been brought to you by Pepto-Bismol.
But other than that, I've been getting back into No Man's Sky, believe it or not. And so yeah, I don't got the VR or anything, but I couldn't imagine playing that in VR. I get motion sickness anyways. My brother brought over his VR, and I played that, and I was impressed. Like, it was cool. Like, there was like and on the podcast last night, someone was saying that the horror really is like where VR shines. And I totally agree with that, man. Horror and VR, that's where it's at. That's like the future, in my opinion. But I can only imagine playing a game like The Last of Us 2 in VR. Holy crap, I nearly shit my pants several times playing the regular game. So holy. Yeah, but so I was impressed with that VR, but the motion sickness hit me like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then, so I was I was only playing it in increments, right? And I was like, I need a break. And then he gave me this roller coaster game. Oh my God. It was like 5 seconds. I was like, nope, not doing this one. Yeah, you have to get acclimatized to VR, and I think in time it will get a lot better. I know that's one of the things that they're struggling is that some people just never get acquainted. I mean, I found it a little bit when I first bought my PSVR, but I did eventually. When you play enough VR, you kind of get used to it, and you're not tricking your mind and stuff as much. You know what I mean? So it definitely gets easier. And some games lend itself better than others, especially games that there's more forward movement as opposed to the side to side and all that stuff. Yeah, Spider-Man brought up a good thing in the chat with the cheaters on Call of Duty. They have taken some really good. I was impressed with one of the measurements they took to combat the cheating in the Warzone, and that's the double. What is it called? The double. You have to give them a legitimate cell phone number. The two-way I can't think of the name, but the two-way. It's basically you have to give them a phone number, and if you don't do that, then you can't make a new free account. So that was pretty huge. But other than that, I've even been playing with the kids with No Man's Sky, and they really like that a lot too. Awesome. Let's give a shout out to the people in the chat. We got a few people just rolling in. Make sure you hit that like button, guys. Share it out if possible. We'd love to see 50 people in this chat tonight. That would be fantastic. We got HR Bomber, our good buddy HR. He got a new graphic.
And it looks fantastic. I do believe designed by the graphic god himself. Axel1324 is in the chat. Draven Arrow just jumped in. We got Easy Money 4K. So we got the who's who up in the chat tonight, guys. Hope you can hang out with us for a while. We got some fantastic topics tonight. Again, if you're just getting in, sorry, Primal is not here. I guess she's having some storms. It's playing havoc with the power. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping she shows up. And yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, with everything that's been going on, and I don't know. I don't like to say it here, but the future of this gaming after dark is really going to be up in the air if we can't get some consistency here in the panel. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But we got Titan Drago hanging out with us tonight. It was supposed to be Craig Simmons, but he couldn't make it either due to work obligations. So there you go. But anyway, let's get right into some of the topics. As far as myself, for the last 4 days since Friday, I have played no game other than The Last of Us 2, and that will be one of the topics we will get into. First of all, I want to talk about EA Play Live. The show went off a couple days ago there. Of course, Greg Miller was the host. Kudos to EA for at least getting somebody that the game industry knows, and for the most part, most people love him. Some people hate him, but at least he's entertaining. He can talk the talk, walk the walk, and that sort of thing. But EA, did they come out swinging, or was this one flat? I'll start with the guess on this one. Hopefully, it's fresh in your mind. I'm still trying to jog mine. Obviously. It couldn't have been that great for me because I'm having trouble just thinking about what they even showed off. So Titan, what did you think of EA's? Well, essentially would be what we probably would have seen at E3. So what did you think of EA Play Live?
Well, here's the whole thing. I wasn't even gonna. I didn't watch it live, and I was completely okay with just like getting the cliff notes from people around social media. And I'm kind of glad, and I saw your topics for tonight. I saw this was one of them. So I went back and I caught the videos, the cliff note videos, if you will, on YouTube, and I watched them all. And I'm glad I did watch them all because the general consensus out there is that it was terrible. Like, people are hating this EA Play like it's the plague, man. And I gotta say, like, when I watched it, I was like, I didn't feel the same thing. I didn't feel the same hate. So I'm wondering if people are really giving it, like, leaving it with like lingering hate from like the really crappy things they've done in the past, which that's all well deserved. Believe, like, people that have listened to me in podcasts before have heard my bevy of rants about EA before, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I really feel that they've heard the gaming community. And, they released the Star Wars, the Cal story, no microtransactions.
Yeah. Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no microtransactions of that, and they really made it abundantly clear that the new Squadrons game wasn't going to have any micros. So I really think that us gamers, they really hear our word. We have such a strong voice. It's pretty impressive if you think about it. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. Well, first of all, let's catch up with the chat. We got our good buddy Salty's Gaming is in the house. Salty's been hard on The Last of Us 2 too. I don't mean hard as in reviewing the game, but he's been playing it nonstop. Hope you're enjoying it as much as I have been, Salty. It's been pretty fantastic, and I'll give you my thoughts on that shortly. HR Bomber throwing down $2 in the super chat. He says, "Yo, let's go." Yeah, we are going indeed. Look, it was the typical cannon fodder stuff because every time EA does a show, you can always expect the same old stuff. You're going to get your, you always get your Madden, you get your FIFA. But that was kind of weird because that's all they really showed. Like, we didn't see any new racing games from these guys. Did they even show off a Need for Speed on this one?
Well, here's my thing. Now, I didn't see a new Need for Speed, but to me, like, what they showed of Madden was really underwhelming. That was like, actually, I was expecting it to be more, and really it was like, I wasn't impressed with what they showed. I was very impressed with their FIFA, the soccer, like that. Mm-hmm. Why does FIFA look 10 times better than Madden? I don't get that. I don't know why. Like, I'm not buying another Madden until they really take advantage of the next gen console. But to answer, they went into the man. They didn't go into the one you said, but I was really impressed with the tech they're using for the next Battlefield. Do you remember seeing that? That to me that looked absolutely ridiculous with the face. Did you see the old guy's face? Noof there.
I saw the whole show, but for some reason that one's not.
You don't remember that part?
No, I don't remember
Dude, they
that.
showed his face, and it was legit. It's a legit
Yeah.
upgrade from anything you've seen thus far. And someone was saying that their new technology, and that's the thing with me. It's all about the technology, because it surely seems like they have upgraded their technology yet again. They will not be outdone when it comes to graphics. Like they're taking this this Warzone, this Modern Warfare engine, and I think they're going to take a crap on it yet again.
Yeah, well, the last two Battlefields certainly took a bit of a hit from a sales perspective and definitely from a hype. I know people were pretty excited when Battlefield 1 came out and, was going back to World War, but, the luster quickly ran out, and people quickly also realized how kind of it sucks to go back in the past when a lot of these games are the archaic weapons and all that kind of stuff. Battlefield 5 is a step more in the right direction, but I think that was a little bit too late. I'm glad that they finally decided to give Battlefield a rest this year and come back strong next year. Hopefully, like you said, using new tech, revamping the engine, and bringing out, a showcase Battlefield game that is worthy of the next gen console. So kudos to them for that. I mean, obviously for me, I was always, because they said, oh, well, we got something. What was it? We're bringing back an old beloved franchise and stuff like that. And I was thinking, now, why are they bringing back? First, I thought that might be the long-awaited announcement of the Mass Effect trilogy remaster, and I was kind of like, I was kind of getting excited, thinking maybe that's where they're going with that, but that didn't happen. Again, what it was Command and Conquer remastered, and I was like, for crying out loud. They showed The Sims again. Whoop-de-doo on that for me. But obviously the star of the EA show for me was hands down was Star Wars Squadrons, and that was kind of only disappointing because we saw this days earlier before EA Play. The surprise was gone. I enjoyed seeing it again. Plus they showed a lot of gameplay during their show. And the multiplayer. That looked very impressive. And like you said, kudos to EA. They're stepping up and actually doing things now that are a little bit more pro-consumer friendly, as opposed to just raking their fans through the coals like we saw in the past. They've improved Battlefront 2 exponentially over the last year or so. The game is far better than it ever was. If you're able to go back and play it, trust me, much, much better game. The graphics in this Squadrons look absolutely like dynamite. I'm definitely buying it. Can't wait for that. So
dude, the Squadron game, like I was really impressed with the multiplayer aspect, that what they've shown so far, the different fighter craft with the different abilities, you got the standard X-Wings and TIE fighters, and they got average abilities, and then the interceptors are like much faster. I don't know if you paid attention to the ability bars.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a huge difference between the two, and I really like that, because that tells me that they're really going for the paper, rock, scissors of it all, and the teamwork of it all,
the 5 classes of ships and stuff. Smaller 5-on-5, but it looks like they got some co-op stuff in there, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and they chose to keep it with the most recognizable Star Wars era. Now, mind you, this game could obviously lend itself to DLC if it sells well, which is quite a possibility, to get more fighters or more content from different eras. Because as far as I know, it's going to have a campaign. Apparently, it's like a 2-sided campaign. You get to play as the Empire, you get to play as the Republic, but I think that both campaigns are relatively short. But either which way, I'm glad that they got the full enchilada. It's just not a multiplayer game, so that's good, right?
Yeah, that's huge, and the VR of the Squadron, like that could be for those VR fans out there, that's pretty cool. And I talked about on Boob Show last night. The cockpit view only. Do you like it? Do you not? Chat, let me know. One for you like the cockpit only, 2 that you don't.
Yeah, it's a great question. Personally, I like both views, but I would prefer that I could play it from both, because I like the third person. So having it cockpit only is a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm not a big fan. Since it's a Rogue Squadron kind of game where it's reminiscent of Rogue Squadrons. I think that's what they're going for, is trying to bring back the nostalgia and the feel of those old N64 games. I figured it would be more like that, but if it's just going to be first person only, now again, they could change that with an update, and I hope that they do. That would be the only downside I can see so far. And HR Bomber in the chat says it's, $40 too, so it's not going to be an expensive title. So I think it's a win-win for Star Wars fans and for EA. Definitely. So, but I would like to see that thing. So in the chat, guys, Titan asked to comment if you're going to buy this game. One, if you like the cockpit, two, or two, if you prefer the third person. I think that's what you said, Titan.
Yep. Do you remember, like you say, you brought up the Nintendo 64 game, so I take it you played it, right?
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, man. I can still remember the first time I roped NATAT, man, and it kind of forced you in that third person. Like, oh my god, I still remember that, and that was so cool. It ain't gonna have it in this game, but this game is I really like that one mode that they showed, where you're kind of going back and forth. They kind of took that Battlefield game mode and kind of threw it into, X-Wings and pilots and starfighters.
The cockpit stuff totally works for the VR. I totally get that. And they do have the PSVR mode if you're picking it up on PlayStation, which is really cool. But I agree with Salty. They need to have the ability to switch to both modes, because not everybody's a big fan of playing from the cockpit. And traditionally, I think 90% of the Star Wars flight games that we've played over the years have always been generally third person, or at least they gave you that option. So
yeah, this is a good topic, because I wonder if they'll lose very many sales just because of that. That's a good.
The thing is, when somebody's chasing you from the rear, it's a little easier sometimes to get perspective as to where they're coming from if you're playing in third person, whereas when you're in that very close-in cockpit, it's just kind of hard out of the peripheral side of things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The peripherals, yeah. I kind of like that, actually. I like throwing everyone. And one thing that bothers me about Call of Duty and first-person shooter games is one person likes his sensitivity on 10. And he can move them, and he can spin at an unrealistic pace. Let's just keep a little bit of realism. Let's tone it down to at least make it realistic. Yeah. No one can spin like a top on their butts. And shooting. I can't stand that. So, but other than that, what they showed in the show, Baldur's Gate 3. Do you remember them showing that? Because to me, that looked amazing. I've almost bought Baldur's Gate 2 on the Xbox probably 3 or 4 different times now.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it just didn't move the needle. I'm not a Baldur's Gate guy.
You're not? Oh my god! No. Did you ever play Baldur's Gate 1 or 2?
Never played either one of them. Just never appealed to me.
Because you haven't been hooked yet. Baldur's Gate 2. I was in the Navy. I still remember when you can remember like a decade previously, and these games are leaving that much of a mark on you. It's a special game.
I had lots of people tell me that about the Diablo series, and I finally my first Diablo game was number 3, and I bought it, and I'm like, what's the fucking big hoopla about this game? I'm just like fucking top down, like just walking around killing monsters. I don't know, like just never jive. I like it, but it's not like, oh my god, Diablo. You know what I mean?
And that game, and the game may not be for you. It might not be your style, but this Baldur's Gate, it's like it was so. I think it was ahead of its time. Was the thing, Baldur's Gate 2, and it really brought like you could choose. Like you had consequences for choices. You had all this kind of, and it was difficult. It was like a good set of difficulty. But the Baldur's Gate 3 looked like it had an amazing, intriguing story.
Yeah.
The only thing is, it made me mad that there's not plans in place for next generation consoles yet. The devs said that it would not be able to run on current gen consoles, so those are out of the question, because they said they would really have to alter the game, like, and like make it basically look like crap, basically. But PC and Stadia.
So a Switch version is out, you're saying?
Yeah, right. But they're throwing it on PC and Stadia. Like,
Well,
this is why I hate exclusives. Go ahead.
yeah, well, Stadia, obviously, I'm sure, Stadia is willing to chuck big bucks at almost any game right now to differentiate their platform. And second of all, Stadia has one thing going for it. It's not tied down to hardware specific limitations. The server side of things will do the heavy lifting. You just got to have a good connection to be able to stream it, right? So, but let's catch up with the chat first before we move on. HR Bomber says Diablo is great. Tip Top Dalton is in the house. Brian F, what's up, brother? Thanks for being here. Born Distracted is in the house as well, guys. Thanks for being here. Axel 1324, Easy Money 4K, still hanging out with us here. We got Salty in the house. Good crew, guys. Yeah, but yeah, where was it? Yeah,
I got to get your opinion on, like, because it's going to PC and Stadia. There's no news of when it's going to come to either the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. And this is why I hate exclusive, because I'm not even going to buy a PlayStation, 4 for the handful of titles that I would like to play on it. I refuse to do that. And this is going to be on Stadia and PC. Like, you're going to have a pretty legitimate PC to run this. Yeah. So what's your thing with exclusives and stuff?
Well, there's a reason they exist. You love them or you hate them. Everybody has a different opinion on them. Obviously, I'm all for exclusives because it drives people to particular platforms. I mean, and that's just the way it is. It's no different than a burger joint doing it or a certain movie theater having certain things. I mean, everybody does it. They're trying to bring people like the time bullshit and holding stuff off of a different platform, like that stuff irks me a little bit more. Like, for example, the Final Fantasy game, right? 15. I mean, it's obviously coming out for Xbox, right? But why like a year, right? If either it's going to be straight up exclusive or don't do it at all, because it just makes no sense. I know this guy's waiting for that game to wait for it to come out next year, but like, luckily for me, I have a PS4, and I was able to buy it on PS4.
It is kind of a dirty move, ain't it? Like, it's a cheap shot. I almost feel like
a month I can get stuff with content first on PlayStation for a fucking month. Okay, that like a month anybody can squeeze out 4 weeks, but a fucking year, dude. And look, and it's not just PlayStation. I mean, Microsoft did it in the past too. They did it with the Tomb Raider game, but there's some big differences with Tomb Raider that people don't realize is Microsoft largely funded part of the Tomb Raider. Like they were a big reason that Rise of the Tomb Raider and stuff that even existed, right? Because Microsoft stepped in and had a good relationship with Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics and helped make it happen. But obviously, that game took a lot of backlash because of that, and people didn't buy it at all. I don't know. I don't hear any Xbox guys saying they won't buy Final Fantasy when it comes out, but we'll see. A lot of the Xbox guys already bought it because they bought it on PlayStation. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's a wee problem, ain't it? Like, you can't stand the 1 year exclusivity. I can't stand them in period. Like taking Spider-Man, like an icon like Spider-Man, and in the gaming world, and keeping that as an exclusive, like that drives me kind of nuts. Like, why can't? Like, I just wish.
Because in Spider-Man's case, that's not a property owned by Sony. That's a universally loved property.
Yeah, exactly.
That's loved by comic book fans. It's loved by Sony fans and Xbox fans. So that one is the dirtiest of the dirty when it comes to something like that. And trust me, if Microsoft, if Xbox, which they won't, but just imagine if Xbox does that with something like Batman. Oh boy, the shit they will take.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the remake Spider-Man. Yes. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic here too much. Let's get into some more topics here. We got the Human Spiders hanging out with us. What's going on, brother? Thanks for being here, guys. I don't know where Primal is. I don't know if she's going to make it. We're already 30 minutes into the show.
Well, that's what Xbox's Spider-Man's game is going to have to be called, The Human Spider.
Yeah, they'll just make a spin-off game with a guy like a knockoff. It's like the knockoff version. He's just got like red pajamas on and shit like that.
Version of Spider-Man.
Oh fuck. You know what? If I was dirty, if I was a game developer and I was making something exclusive for fucking Xbox, I would slap something in my game just to like, as a fucking dig.
Yeah,
I
I
would
would
do it just
too,
as a
man.
dig. It'd be like an Easter egg thing where you'd fucking get this character, right? And be like, yeah, the human spider or the fucking spider dipshit or something.
You know it, man. I would
Oh
too.
fuck. Just to take a dig at them, that'd be so funny. But overall, the EA thing, I wasn't really impressed. A couple of good things there, but again, it's going to be a mixed bag for lots of different people. Let's get into some more topics because we do have a few good ones to get into. Let's start out with this one because it's a little more current, I suppose. Well, both of these are pretty new, but let's talk about The Last of Us 2 impressions. And I'll try and, like I said, I won't give away spoilers. I'll try to keep it spoiler free for those of you who haven't played the game, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't finished it yet. I just crossed the 20-hour barrier, which means I'm getting down that way. Titan, I don't think you have a PlayStation, correct? Or no?
No, but I do have something to say along the lines of this, but I'll go after you.
Okay. All right. So I'll take over on this one. The Last of Us 2. This has been a polarizing game. I'm not sure what game we've seen last that was this polarizing. Probably Death Stranding. But Death Stranding was definitely a little bit more. It was a little more cut and dry because either you really loved Death Stranding or you kind of didn't like it at all, and it was very confusing. And for the most part, it still is confusing. There's really nothing confusing about The Last of Us 2. It's a sequel to one of the most revered games in the past 10 years. And I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And I'll start with the great things about the game. First of all, you're going to notice the graphics. They're absolutely phenomenal. It's amazing that this game runs and looks so good on a base model PS4. I think it's at about 1080p and runs about 30 frames a second. I'm having no glitches. I saw people online say they had glitches, etc. I've had nothing with it yet. It's a fantastic game. All right. Obviously, the characters have grown up. A lot's happened. It's been several years since the original game, since Joel went in and rescued Ellie from the clutches of death. And that in itself ties into the story of the second game. And that's something, if you played the first game, this game makes a little bit more sense, but they do tie up a lot of things in this game with sort of flashbacks. So if you don't play the first game, I think you'll start getting the whole gist of it right from the get-go. Mechanically wise, play control wise, the game has improved, but it still adopts the formula from the last game, which is sort of a cumbersome inventory system, a lot of switching out weapons because every weapon seems to be very limited to the ammo. Of course, you find components, you upgrade at the tool shop tables, and you make those weapons better, a little bit more efficient and effective. And you definitely will need to be more efficient and effective with your weapons later in the game because shit starts to ramp up and get real. Let me tell you, I've had a few decent scares while playing this game. There's some crap in that game that made my heart pound. The original game was a little bit more like steady paced all the way through, where this one's got some highs and lows and dips. Some people say it's slow starting. I love the way the game's kind of just eases you in and then goes for the full bore, especially when you get to the second half. Now, the second half, the part that the reviewers couldn't talk about, that's where it gets interesting, because this is now where the part of the game is starting to lose me. It's the part of the game where I'm just like, what the fuck are we even doing? Why am I doing this here? And again, I can't say nothing too much without really giving things away, but so far, just overall, I'm really enjoying the game. I'm not going to give it a review scale because it's not fair. I haven't completed it yet. Let's just say if I am going to review it and give it a number, it would be high. I don't think right now it's making the same impression on me as the first game did, but it's definitely a lot cooler. It's definitely scarier than the first game. Some of these enemies are absolutely fucking nuts, but the human enemies in the game are way smarter this time. You can't just sit back behind a crate and wait for the guy to do the same little path back and forth and just pick them off. And they're like, hey, what happened? Now they really start coming toward you. They start doing random like turns. Everything feels a bit more non-scripted per se, which is good because that adds to the dynamic. One of the major key focuses and changes to the dynamic in this game is that you have a dodge button with the L1, And that's something you didn't have in the old game. Basically, in the old game, you know, like say if a clicker or whatever kind of grabbed you, it was pretty much game over unless you had a shiv. Now you can dodge away from the enemies. You're a little bit more limber. You can move faster, and you will have to do that because there's a lot more enemies in this game than it was in the original. You get flanked and you get swarmed very easy, so you have to keep moving. Smart about your inventory, and in some cases, when possible, you can avoid confrontations altogether, but it's tricky. You got to take it slow. Let's catch up with the chat. Loon Smile in the house. CSS Freelance is here. What's going on, guys? Hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. We got a down thumb. Maybe it's because I talked about The Last of Us and sounds like I'm positive on it. But the story is where it's losing me. It's not the game itself. I mean, every aspect of the game is better than the original game. It's the story that's losing me. It's a little convoluted. They're forcing you to care about characters and scenes in the game that you shouldn't have to. It kind of reminds me of Halo 5, taking you on the whole lock trip where you're just like, dude, I want to be Master Chief. I want to fucking, and that's kind of feeling I'm sort of getting with this game. And I'll talk more about this game tomorrow on Boom Show. I won't go too much. I'll let Titan have his say about his impressions of The Last of Us. And I guess too, Titan, like we saw the review scale right now, it sits at a 95 meta. The user score, since they dipped to the shitty ones, they got rid of all the fucking crappy ones.
They got rid of them?
Yeah, they bumped the score up. The user score, the last I checked a couple days ago, it was 95 meta, and the user score was sitting, believe this or not, at 3.3.
Yeah,
The user score now is actually 9.1.
What?
Yeah, user score is up to 9.1 from 3 to 9.1. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
Wow.
So yeah, go for it, man. Take it away. What's your take on The Last of Us 2?
Wow, that's impressive. Like, all right, I got a lot to say on this apparently now. Because part of it, I got two different things. Part of it was about that, the user score versus the ratings, the real ratings, whatever you call them. But the user score was 3.3. So they got rid of, I take it, all the zeros and ones. Did they also get rid of the tens? Because someone said
Probably
on Twitter,
not.
like, if you're going to get rid of the zeros, you need to get rid of the tens.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because, in my opinion, no game should be a 10. A 9.9. Okay. But if you're going to say give it a 10, that's like basically showing your bias. It's showing you're a fanboy. And same thing with a 0, like you can't even give the game a 1. Like, come on, man. Like, and then same things with the 10s. Like the people.
All right. I got to start one. The guys in the chat. Guys in the chat are saying like 4.1. Okay. I can definitely say, okay, it's not a 10. But 4.1 or 3 or 5, come on, guys. I mean, fucking the Death Stranding was a 3, 4, or 5, not The Last of Us 2. It definitely doesn't drop down to mediocre just because of a story element. So I'm not jiving with that one, guys. That's
talking
fucking
about the user score. Are you guys talking about?
Yeah, no, they're talking about their own score or something like that. I think. So I don't know, but yeah, continue. Sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
All right. So where was? Yeah. So. I think like the definite zeros and tens, those are all fanboys. They don't, in my opinion, they don't even deserve to rate the game anywhere in the world, no matter if it's a user score or a professionally reviewed score.
Mm-hmm.
Those and I think things like this need to be. I think something needs to happen with this. Someone needs to enact a little bit of two-way authentication, if you will. Like, right? Like, if you give this game a 10, you need to give put your words to back it up. Because back in the day, if you remember, there was one game that, like, said terrible things about the game, but they rated it really freaking high. And it's like, if you see the number score and what they actually wrote about it, they didn't add up, right? So I think that's something that needs to happen. But other than the user score and the real score, the other thing, there's a big disagreement on Twitter right now, where if you haven't played, some people think that if you haven't played the game or beat the game, you shouldn't be able to rate it, even if you watch someone stream it. Now, I understand people's complaints about that, but a Twitter user compared this between a driver and a passenger, okay? And he said a passenger can't do what a driver can. And other than actually drive the vehicle itself, I completely disagree, because this passenger driver equates to a streamer and a viewer, right?
Yeah.
So a viewer watching this game being streamed, they're saying that the viewer, just because he didn't buy the game and isn't actually holding a controller in his hands, he shouldn't be able to, or his opinion shouldn't matter. And I really disagree with that because, and I liked,
And I'll disagree with you on that.
I liked his good because I liked his, the passenger to driver reference, because if you're a passenger, can't you feel the same speed as the driver? You're in the same vehicle. Right. And if you're a passenger, you can hear everything the driver is saying and judge for yourself. Right. Right. The driver say, oh, man, I don't know if you could tell this, but blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, OK. And then judge for yourself. And a passenger can tell when something is seriously wrong with the car, just like a driver can. Right. And all of those equate to watching and playing a game. Let me hear what you got to say about it.
Well, look, if you're going to use the driver passenger analogy, here's the thing. If you're a passenger, you can sit and relax. You can look out the window, take in all the sights. Heck, you can even jerk off on the passenger side seat and not even care. If you're driving the damn car, though, you got so many more things that you got to be focused on and attentive to on the road, on the car handling, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot more nerve-wracking to be a driver than a passenger. You know what I mean? If you've ever been in either situation, trust me, it is. I mean, like with movies, it's a little different because movies are a passive experience. You just sit back and the movie dictates how it's going to go from minute 1 to minute 90. You're either in or you're out. But with a game experiences are totally different when you play a game. When you get in and you play a game, seeing it's one thing, but playing it. And again, that's where like a game like.
Let me stop you right there. I completely agree with like a multiplayer game. But with a single player campaign, I don't know if I can get on board with that. What do you think?
No, because like I can tell you, like I said, from playing The Last of Us, the original game, and this game right now, like I said, when you're watching that game, okay, for example, yeah, you're getting the gist of the story, but there's no emotion connected because you're not playing it. There's no consequence, if you die or you lose enemies or you lose experience points. There's just something to it.
Let's just take the game at the subject.
I mean, that game made me jump out of my fucking underwear a couple times already, Like I was like, holy shit. And like you like a VR, right? That's the same as the people always trying to rate VR, but nobody's tried VR. Go try VR and play a fantastic game like a Resident Evil and tell me that experience when you put the VR headset on is not 50 times different than playing it without the headset.
All right, well, VR I'd give you. VR I'll definitely give you. But if you're watching someone play it, and then I can't see watching someone play this game, The Last of Us, and having a controller in your hand, I cannot see that being too far of a difference.
Okay, well, again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I think for the most part, you should, if you're interested in the game, like this is the thing. If you watch somebody play the game and you said to me, I watched 20 hours of it and I wasn't feeling it. It didn't look like a game that would interest me. I can totally respect that. But you're not playing the game, watching someone else do it, and then giving it a score like you basically did play it. Well, I'm going to give it 7 when there's no connection, no emotion, or nothing. That just seems a bit off to me. Like,
look at it this way, that person doesn't have the game. Maybe they can't buy the game. They're resorting to watching someone stream it just so they can get that. I think that maybe they want it more, right? They want this experience so bad that they would rather watch someone else play it because they know maybe they can't buy it.
I wish I'd watched more people play fucking Animal Crossing before I went out and spent $80 on it, because what a piece of shit game that is. Holy fuck.
Dude, I don't know.
That one got 91 on Metacritic. 91 for what? If fucking cute animals collecting shit for hours on end is a fucking near perfect experience, then holy fuck, what is your life about? Because honestly, after I spent fucking 2 hours collecting twigs to go build a fucking thing, to go sell it to Tom Nook, who rips you off, and watch him say the same shit over repeatedly, after repeatedly, I was like, why the fuck did I buy it? I bought it because I was following the hype, and I was like, everybody's buying this game. I heard lots of good stuff about it, and I'm playing fucking Animal fucking Crossing, and I was like, God damn, Death Stranding looks like the game of the century. next to this fucking thing. And Nintendo fucking sells this shit like hotcakes. It's like fucking crack cocaine. But who the fuck? I mean, obviously, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to say the game is shit. Like, but it doesn't even feel like a game. It's just a fucking It's a cute version of The Sims. And like, I don't know. Like, yeah. So I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson.
Okay. Let's hear the lesson.
Well, that was the lesson. Don't fucking buy Animal Crossing games, and don't buy these fucking Nintendo games that you pretty much kind of like. If you're kind of going in with the before you even buy it, then perhaps just leave it. Dreadpool is in the house. What's going on, man? But yeah. But anyway, I'm just going to end it off on The Last of Us here. I'm loving the game. I can't wait to finally give it a review, but I'll just say right now, I'm loving the game. I think it's well done for the most part. The story, like I said, it takes me off the rails in that second half of the game, and now I completely understand why Sony didn't want the reviewers fucking spilling the beans on it. Because trust me, the game really started to change at that point, and I'll leave it at that. So, Titan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, let me just get into this real quick, kind of off the topic, but my buddy, I play games with a lot. He always says that he can't get on board with the games like you actually have to work to you're like. He says you're basically working in the game.
Yes, he fucking summed it up. It was like going to work in the game, like clocking in, like literally collecting shit to sell shit to buy shit. That's what I do every day of my fucking life. Collect shit, work shit, buy fucking shit, and I gotta do it in a fucking video game. Like it's tedious as fucking shit.
My wife has said the same thing, and I said I told my wife probably a month ago. I was like, the first person that can turn working into a video game, they could take like an autonomous unit, right, and put a controller in someone's hands, develop a video game to control that autonomous unit that actually does the work for you, where you could just sit there. I said that person's gonna be rich as hell.
Hey, at least let's make a fucking parody game and call it Animal Porking, so I can be a fucking dog and get a beaver and fucking do her doggy style and fucking collect shit and fuck shit. That's what I want to do. But not this fucking collecting twigs by hitting a tree and eating berries and fucking selling fossils to an old fucking fossil. Like, Jesus. And people are going nuts in this game. It's selling like mad cakes. I'm like, wow. So, like, Nintendo can sell stupid in a fucking box. Actually, matter of fact, Nintendo already did sell stupid 100 times. It's called Labo, but yeah.
They can sell stupid in a cardboard box.
Jesus. Fuck. Oh, like stuff like that. I'm like, man, I want to smack myself just thinking that I fucking bought that game. Never again. Never again. But to each their own. I know your wives and your kids love it because that's the fucking thing, is to play games where you collect shit. Tell them, look, if you got a kid that loves that game, tell them, you know what, go easy on it, because after you fucking leave this house, you're going to do that same shit in real life. The only difference is you got to get real currency and you got to work real fucking hours.
That's right.
There you go. That's it.
There's the people that don't mind working in a video game, and there's the people that do. So if you see, like, they should, and the way, and like reviewers should call it that too. Like, you're gonna, like, this feels like a job, or this game.
Yeah, when games feel like they're jobs, where it's like a reflection of real life. It's like I play games to get away from real life, not to go in and all that shit. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So if I do want to be a fucking ugly fat white slob, will buy The Sims and I'll make my own character. At least in the Animal Crossing, I'll give it that. At least you can be somebody cute. Right?
Freaking Animal Crossing.
Anyway, guys, sorry to go off on a weird rant. Let's get away from the Last of Us stuff, because this shit's gonna go on forever. But just before we go in the chat, if any of you guys in the chat, Mr. Kima's in the house. What's going on, Mr. Kima? How you doing? Jesse Darby. Infinite is here. What's happening, Infinite? Dreadpool is in the house. Just let me know if you guys have The Last of Us 2 right now, whether you finished it or you're just playing it. Just kind of, I want to know. Give it a 1 in the chat if you're really thinking this game is really good or amazing, or give it a 2 if you're sort of disappointed. I'd like to see people in the chat. So 1, if you're really enjoying it and think that it's kind of living up to the hype, or 2, it's kind of really disappointing kind of deal. So let me know in the chat. I want to see some numbers here. We're going to move on to the next topic of the evening. And this one was interesting. This one came out of complete left field. I don't think there was a fucking person on this planet who, well, I suppose we kind of seen it coming, but not this early. And that is Mixer getting bought out by Facebook, or Microsoft selling them to Facebook. That's right. So July 22nd, 2020, Mixer shuts down as the current form that we know it, and it will become Facebook Gaming. They're going to incorporate all that stuff over there. Basically, anybody that's a big streamer and got partnerships, they're asking them if they want to continue. They'll sign a non-disclosure agreement, all the blah, 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 and they're just going to take on a new brand, and they're going to do it on a different platform, which means it will no longer exist on the Xbox as an app and all that stuff, and they're not going to transfer it either. That sort of thing. Like, so you're not going to be able to just sign up on Facebook and then you're going to switch the app on the Xbox. No, it is done. It is done as we know it, which means basically you continue with Facebook, you decide to go over to YouTube, or you go with Twitch. That would be, I guess, the most common options right now. For me, I've already made my choice. I'm going to go back to Twitch. I never really cared for Twitch that much. I was always on board with Mixer because it was integrated with the Xbox, had low latency.
Yes.
But I liked it. It was a great platform. I think it was a great platform. The problem is they just had problems getting to people, and that lies the problem. It had its fair share of problems over the years. So there you go. I'll let you take your thoughts, Tight, and then I'll come back to mine on that. So what did you think about what do you think about it?
Well, one of the biggest problems with Mixer is the rough start it had. If you guys remember, if you guys streamed on Mixer early in its lifetime, it had a lot of problems. Yeah, Beam, yeah. Mixer used to be Beam. Catch me on my live stream. That was in the song I wrote, But yeah, like, and a lot of people don't know it used to be called Beam, and like there were some major issues with it, and it like kind of like drew me away from the platform because, like, man, this stuff ain't working the way it should, and it's so annoying. And I would say within the last year and a half, they finally got it to a good working, state. And maybe that's why, they went out and got, gave it its one last go. Well, let me say this, let me start with it this way. It sucks for the people that were building streaming careers on that platform. But you know what? It's almost like you're welcome, because Microsoft kind of saw it for you. If you didn't see it yourself, if you were building a streaming career on Mixer, guess what? It may, besides a few, it wasn't going to happen. And Microsoft basically pulled the plug for you, because, and Microsoft's probably going to get a lot of hate for closing Mixer down like this, but it wasn't growing. Even when COVID hits the world and everything gaming is exploding with growth, Mixer was stagnant. All right. And from what I've read, people with balances on their account, they're getting Microsoft gift cards, they're getting this and that. So so they're not saying, screw you guys, we're out. At least Microsoft isn't saying that. They thanked the people on the platform. They paid the balances and gave them a new place to go, even maybe better. Right.
Yep.
So it looks like for this unfortunate shutting down of Mixer is at least being handled as good as it possibly can be, right?
Right.
Because I'm sure none of these streamers that are on it sure saw this coming. But I think people just jump on the bandwagon because it's easy to hate, right? And they don't often look at the whole picture.
Well, totally. Just on the last question about The Last of Us, Joe Dunmore gave it a 1. So he likes the game. Atrocity Night says 3, which probably means he's not playing it or doesn't plan to buy it. Axel gave it a 0 because he doesn't have it yet. CSS Freelance says a 1. Jesse Darby says he'll give me his thoughts on The Last of Us 2 when he buys the game. Spider-Man says it's a partnership. So whether Facebook owns it or not, at the end of the day, Mixer as we know it doesn't exist, and you will have the stream on Facebook, right? So that's the bottom line. So we're not going to get into specifics here, but the bottom line is Mixer as we know it is pretty much dead. As far as I know, Microsoft retains something about the tech IP or something, like the technology behind it and different things.
That has to do with the light speed. What do you call it? The no latency streaming about it.
Yeah, I forget the name for it. It was popular when it first came out. They talked about how it works and whatever, light beam or speed of light, or I don't know what the fuck it is, but yeah. Well, so here's the deal on Mixer. Like, I enjoyed it. I liked Mixer. I was slowly but surely building a bit of a following. Like last week, I spent a couple of days streaming A Plague Tale: Innocence, fantastic game, by the way, on Mixer. But still, here's the deal. how many years? 4 years since Microsoft acquired Mixer. Now, I noticed it had a sharp decline in quality and stuff after they let the two guys kind of go, the guys who sort of sold it to the Matt Salamondi and this other guy. But the weird part is, like, how many times did Microsoft themselves, this is supposed to be their property, how many times did they try to stream an E3 show? How many times did they try to do a game presentation with Mixer, and fucking Mixer didn't work worth a shit, right? Everybody knows. How many times did we go to watch shit on Mixer and had to revert back to YouTube because Mixer was fucking screwing up? It was like too many to count. I was like, man, Mixer's not worth a damn. Like, so first of all, when it's your own property, it's your own tech, and it's your own employees, you know, it's something that you promote and you can't get it fucking right. There's problem number one. If you can't do it, who else is going to do it? I mean, second of all, you know, what are the biggest games that streamers play today? Right? Fortnite, PUBG, you know, if you look at the top games on any of the platforms right now in streaming, the top games that are being played are, guess what? Free to play games. Mixer was largely successful or a non-successful, whichever way you want to look at it, because it was tied mostly to Xbox. I think a lot of the people that were using it were largely using it through their Xbox dashboard and their platform there, which was fantastic. That was the good part. That's one of the things they did right, was incorporating it right into the console, much like YouTube and Twitch are like right incorporated into PlayStation 4. It's just a quick couple of buttons and boom, you're up and streaming online. The low latency was fantastic. People could nearly comment on your gameplay the moment it happened on like fucking YouTube, where you're like 30 fucking seconds for me most times. Hey, you punch a guy in the face on a boxing match, you got to wait 30 seconds later to figure out if the guy's like the hit or not. But so that kind of stuff. Yep. But like I said, the largest games are free to play games. And guess what Microsoft refused to do even to this day, and the fans have clamored for it? Get rid of your fucking paywall to play free to play games. That in itself would have encouraged a lot more streamers on the platform. The weird thing is, it's not even a year ago that they went and out and bought, they brought over Ninja from Twitch, and then they brought over Shroud, two of the biggest names that anybody knows. Apparently those guys can go back to Twitch now because their contracts, I guess, are null and void after that. But those guys made some serious bank. They're going to laugh all the way to the bank. They'll go back, retain all their old fans, get some new ones. So there's a lot of mistakes made somewhere along the lines, you know, and maybe it comes at a good time, because if you're watching the news, I guess there was a guy who worked for Mixer that I guess there was some racial stuff that came from head office with him, and he brought the article to Phil's and people's attention. So now there's another racial debate at the top heads of Mixer. It's being dealt with, obviously, but not a good look for your platform, regardless. And it comes at a weird time. Phil went out on the record on Twitter and said Mixer shutting down here, it's got nothing to do with that, and I believe that part because kind of unrelated, but the timing is just weird, and that whole fucking like Mixer just did so many things wrong. The spiral went downhill. I think it was 6 or 7 months ago there was an article came out and said that a lot of people running Mixer were they were like suffering with depression and low self-esteem. So I don't know if the fuck went on there, but obviously it sounds like they had a bunch of bags of shit running the show, and it went down the toilet after that. So it's too bad. I think the one thing they could have done better with this transition is at least give the Mixer people 6 months to gravitate their fan base to, you know what I mean? Like 1 month to kind of, hey, pack your bags and fucking go. Couldn't he have given it a little bit more time?
It is quite an abrupt ending. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like out of the blue, boom, we're done. You got a couple of weeks, pack your bags. Sorry guys, but we're done.
So I got a good thing I want to add on to that maybe. And maybe it's a reason for that. I don't know, but when it comes to like the speculation side of podcasts, I love that. Mm-hmm. So let me blow your mind here for a second.
Blow it.
Now I mentioned on Boom's podcast last night, and you missed it. So this is about the next generation of consoles price, right? And if Microsoft decides to get aggressive with their price and really compete with the PS5, the weaker PS5, right? And which I think they will now more than ever, just because of this Mixer news, right? This is kind of all intertwined, I think. So if Microsoft decides to take a loss, right, on every Series X they sell upon release. The question is, where will they make that money up from? Some say it was, subscriptions and this and that, right? Well, what about because on Boom's podcast last night, I think we all came to an agreement on that Mixer was essentially, they would not get rid of it if it was not a drain on their economy.
Yeah.
Right. They're losing money hand over fist on Mixer.
Yeah.
Right? So they get rid of Mixer. And now they can subsidize that lost money to these new consoles and really compete with PS5 more than ever with, because they don't have this big Mixer bill to pay anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a great point.
Now, yeah. I mean, and then I'd love to hear people in the chat because, I mean, that's the whole question: is where this money going to come from? And besides, maybe another little thing on this, when it came to hiring Shroud and Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
So Shroud, in my opinion, has to be one of the worst and boring personalities I've ever seen any streamer. Right? Yeah. Maybe that's just me, but personally, I need to be entertained when I watch. Personally, for me, I would have gone after someone like Dr. Disrespect if I wanted to make a Hail Mary. Let's see if this Mixer thing works or not. Go for the entertainer, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, you're only as good as your content creators, right? And if your biggest names are dull, I mean, and that always baffled me with a lot of these people that are big on Mixer or on Twitch or wherever is, I stream, and I like to think for the most part, and I think a lot of people here would agree that come out to watch my podcast, is that Noof Nukem is fairly entertaining. At least, if nothing else, I don't talk like a boring sloth. I've got some inflection. I know how to articulate that sort of thing. And I think when I do most of my streams, I like to stream entertaining games, and I like to keep it interesting. And there's a bit of humor along the way, that sort of thing. But I do watch a lot of these streamers, and it's like, I mean, most of the girl ones, it's the same old story. They're cute with the tits hanging out.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Most of the ones I watch or have watched are like about as interesting as fucking watching paint dry. Look at this. Have you guys seen my new pom-pom? I'm going to play this game. I hope you'll watch me. And maybe if you like my stream, you'll buy some fucking my Batwater soap. I just douched in it.
No. Why aren't you guys subscribing to me?
You didn't give me $5. You fucking cheap bastards can't afford $5 you low life scum. That's the first thing you don't do is you never insult your clientele, whether they pay or they're not. The views should be appreciated. So I always say to the people that come out here, whether you're here for 5 minutes or you're here for the whole show, I appreciate each and every one of you. But no, that's what you kind of get. I'm not saying all the female gamers, not at all. Please do not take that the wrong. There are some massive, amazing female gamers out there who stream all the time. Heck, I know one in my community, Trinity Warrior. Trinity's a fantastic streamer. She's a great gal. I'll go check her out if you're ever watching her stream. She was streaming on Mixer. I think she's going to have to go with Twitch. Mel streams a lot. You guys know her. Oh, Snap, right? Mo Snap's pretty funny. She's decent, and she don't have her tits hanging out. She's fucking playing shit all the time. Maybe you should tell Xbot though, hey, tell Mel, hey, drop that shirt a little bit, make some more coin, right? but
that's another thing.
And then the other guys are boring. Like a lot of guys that are on, they're just boring. There's no interaction. They're just because they keep playing the same shooters over in Fortnite, COD, and I mean all the 10-year-old pre-besant fucking kids are watching them. I don't know.
It's crazy to think how some of these people gain popularity. Like there's this one chick, I've seen her twice on Mixer, just because I remember the dashboard used to have that Mixer tab. I'd be scrolling over and just look at the top 5 or whatever people are on there. And there was this chick playing Smite. And so I checked it out. And like, this was the worst player. Like, you're actually streaming this game, showing your skill. She was terrible, just terrible. Yeah. Like, that's one thing. And like, she's got all these viewers and like, That I will never understand. She was not entertaining whatsoever, and I gave her and I didn't just like watch and like say I didn't make a quick judgment. I was like, I watched it for a little bit and gave her the benefit of the doubt because she's got all these viewers, and it was just so god awful.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just constantly wondering like what's the big attraction? Well, obviously the attraction is they're nice to look at. Can't deny it. I'd rather look at a pretty female streaming a game than some fat slobby ass male.
Then Titan Drago.
Trust me, there's a reason I don't put my fucking face on when I'm fucking streaming because I don't think you guys need to look at that fucking horror show for fucking 2 hours. You know? You know, I'm trying to save you guys the fucking the nightmares, okay? You know, I'm gonna play a horror game. You don't need to watch when playing it. You know, like watching fucking Freddy Krueger masturbating for 2 hours. You know what I mean? You know, so fuck. It's like fucking stringing a hot dog. You know, but some people like the camera. But anyway, it is what it is at this point. It's very disappointing. I do feel really bad, especially for people that have really done well with Mixer, and there is quite a few of them who's worked hard, build their channel, and now they got to start over. And now it's kind of like, where do you go? Which one do you ultimately pick? I'm seeing a lot of people go to Twitch because Twitch seems to be at least the most reputable one. And of course you see the articles coming out. Well, the racist stuff and the sexist stuff, but that got nothing to do with the fucking platform, people. Twitch doesn't make people racist. Twitch doesn't make you a sexist. Twitch doesn't make you homophobic. Those are the fucking content people on it, not the service itself. Make sure you don't get those two confused. You know, you got if you got problems with people that are streaming, then you got to file those complaints, and they at the end of the day, the last straw comes down to the people that run them. And if they're not fucking smart enough and good enough to get rid of the fucking problematic people, that is on them. But it's not the platform itself, because no matter where you go in this world, whether it's a business or a streaming place or a game company or a particular video game, there's always that negative, terrible side of fucking humanity that fucking strolls in, right? And that's just the way it is. You know, I wish I could say differently, and I wish the world was going to change overnight. It's trying, but it's going to take a long fucking time. You know, so yeah. So there you go. So the Mixer is fucking shutting her down. At least going with Facebook anyway. And I am fucking definitely not going. Facebook's got enough fucking information about me now as it is, without getting all the rest of my Xbox fucking information and everything else. So no, thank you, Facebook. You can go suck a dick,
dude. Before this came out, no joke, I never heard of Facebook gaming.
They've been growing for the last while, but I mean, their gaming is popular again with the very casual side of the crowd, people that like the Candy Crush bullshit and everything else. So, but it's obviously popular enough now to take on to another level. So,
interesting fact, though. I don't know if you want to use this as a segue to that topic about their acquisition.
Yes, well, that's a great segue. Glad you brought it up, because our next topic is Ready at Dawn, the masterminds behind the PlayStation, the PSP versions of God of War, and they're also, one of their last big titles was the Order 1886. Ready at Dawn has been just purchased by Facebook Gaming. So it's quite interesting. So Titan, first of all, the first thing that kind of came to mind and kind of blew my mind was, why didn't Sony buy these guys? What do you think happened there? You think that Sony would have been like, well, let's get these guys. They obviously have some talent, whether you like the Order or not, but they definitely got some talent. Why didn't you think Sony went after these guys?
That's a good question, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Beat Games, Sanzaru Games, and now Ready at Dawn, all purchased by Facebook's Oculus Studios this year alone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys followed that or not, but nice little tidbit of information for you. So it appears that like Facebook is really going hard on these the VR developers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like, and that is a good question, right? I don't know why Sony didn't go after any three of these, right? Because they're interested in VR. They're supposedly making a VR 2.0. So it's just weird. That's a little weird to me.
Crazy Greek dude is in the house, and he's asking what devs we're referring to. Ready at Dawn, the studio behind the Order 1886, which I think, if my memory serves me correctly, was their last actual PlayStation 4 game.
Correct.
I could be wrong. If anybody knows
I
if
believe
they
you're
made
correct.
something after that, please let me know. But I don't think so to my recollection. Now I like the Order 1886. And the one thing I can tell you, so those guys at Ready at Dawn, those guys are mad awesome at graphics. That is still like right up there next to Rise Son of Rome is in the probably one of the top games of the generation for looks. The game had its problems, I get it, but it wasn't bad. It definitely was a good game that deserved a sequel, much the way that Rise deserves a sequel, but we'll never see it. So yeah.
Yeah. So the where was I gonna go with this? I kind of hope for all you VR fans out there, right? So Microsoft makes this deal with Facebook, gives a Mixer. Like, where's the handshake at, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm wondering at. What is Microsoft just getting Mixer off of its books, and is that enough? Or is there completely more to this story, more to be like unfolded in the future
Right.
that I'm sure that I really think we're going to find out, as time goes on. But I hope for all like the VR fans out there, I am not one of them, but I hope for all you VR fans out there that Microsoft really builds upon this relationship because, I mean, not to sound too Mandalorian, but this is the way, right?
Yep.
Like for Microsoft to enter into the VR space without draining the bank, this is the way.
This is the way to go. Yeah, established companies right off the bat. And obviously, Radio Dawn's got some talent. And if they do own the IP to the Order, I'm not sure who owns it, if that's theirs or if Sony has the rights to it. But if they do, they already have at least an established franchise that they could carry over. Could you imagine that game on the Oculus with a true-fledged sequel? It is a possibility. And if Microsoft decides they're going to dip their toes in the VR water, boom, right there, they wouldn't have to require Ready at Dawn because they would have third-party software ready to go. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe these guys are just their focus. That's where they said, we want to transition as a developer. We want to make our name in VR because we think there's a untapped market there for them. And that could have been it. Maybe it was like no amount of money. That maybe that's like a personal decision from the top that said, guys, we appreciate your offers, but this is where we want to take our games and our IPs, and we want to explore different avenues because not every developer out there can be Naughty Dog, and not every developer out there can strike the fire overnight like Epic did with Fortnite. So if you're not in sort of the big picture, or you're not in sort of that group of the known developers, where does your games fall? No matter who you publish on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm telling you, all this is intertwined, right? Xbox gets rid of Mixer. Let's just look at the facts. Yep. Xbox gets rid of Mixer. Xbox makes deal with Facebook. Basically, I don't like, what kind of deal is this? This is such a strange deal. Are they just handing over all their Mixer? Here's a potential pool of streamers. I feel like right, to boost Facebook gaming's repertoire of streamers.
Totally.
So they make a deal with Facebook. Did they pay him? Was there money? Was there a monetary transaction? Is Facebook acting like my 9-year-old or my 8-year-old child? My 9-year-old child, sorry. Is Facebook acting like my 9-year-old child when he got $200 for his birthday and he immediately went out and spent it all on Roblox the next day?
Yeah.
Is that what they did with buying this developer?
It could be.
So
the other side too, it's like everything. It's like hiring an employee too. Developers also come with their own list of their back catalog, what kind of IPs they own, what kind of success they've had in the past. Trust me, like when somebody's going to acquire a company and they're willing to pay X number of millions of dollars, these are things that they will look at. Right? People don't really look at that picture either. We'll go buy this guy or go buy that guy. But we all know that Microsoft, Sony, it doesn't matter who you are. When you acquire someone, you acquire them with the intention and the hope that it's going to make you mad dollars in the end. That's why Microsoft invested so much in Minecraft, because that's their cash cow. That game is fucking turning over money like crazy. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So that's the thing. You look at a studio like Ready at Dawn, or you look at even someone like the guys who made Control. Sorry, what's the name of them again? Control, Quantum Break, Remedy. They both have one similarity, right? Ready at Dawn and Remedy have a couple of similarities, you guys. One, neither one of them had massive runaway hits, games that lit the world on fire. Like if you think about the last major hit that Remedy really had, that sort of like was crazy at the time, was fucking what do you call it? Max Payne. When that was back in the day before video games really blew up, before the internet went crazy, that was their big game. But they sold that IP over to fucking Rockstar, right? So they don't have that IP anymore. So that was their thing. So they, you know, like Alan Wake was a great game, but it still underperformed quite considerably. Quantum Break, same thing, decent game, kind of underperformed. And both companies are also notorious for spending a lot of money developing games and not coming in on their development schedule. Quantum Break went through development hell. It was delayed so many fucking times. It was crazy. The Order 1886 was also delayed several times. You know, and I'm pretty sure Sony was like, you know, guys, get this fucking shit done. Get this out. You know, at some point in time, you got to pull the plug. And I think that's where you come with some of these studios, is that the big guys like the Microsofts and Sony, they pull the plug. They said, enough is enough. You spent too much of our money. We're moving on. There's nothing that you're doing or nothing in your pipeline that convinces us that your product is going to help us make back our money, and it's going to be
and you have to do that, especially being such a big company. When you're like, I mean, it seems like they're throwing so many millions around that it seems like chump change, but that chump change, the millions and millions, they add up.
Yeah. You know? Oh, they do. I mean, you know, these games cost a lot of money, and I don't know how many unrecovered millions that somebody like Microsoft has spent on games and game companies they'll never see back. I mean, for example, how many million did they invest in Platinum Games for that fucking Dragon game that got canned? They won't see a dime out of that now, but they give them money. And everybody bitches about it.
That was probably the best plug pulling of all time by Microsoft.
Yeah.
The damn Dragon game.
Yeah, I can't remember what the fuck was the name of that game.
It started with an S.
Scalebound.
Yes.
You know what drives me most of it, Scalebound and stuff, is how everybody acts like Scalebound was the canceling of the second coming of Christ.
You're right.
Right? And nobody even played the game. Nobody's seen. Right? Nobody's seen it. I mean, I'm not going to say the game didn't look exciting. People were excited for it. But how can people act like when it was canceled, like, well, that's it, Microsoft's done, Scalebound. Like, the game never even come out. We don't even know if that game was going to be any good. Obviously, it was turning out to be a pile of shit because at some point, somebody from Microsoft, whether it was Phil or somebody, went to take a look at it and went, well, this shit's not going very good. No,
this is what you got after all this time.
Yeah. We gave you how many years?
And I remember looking at clips from that game, the gameplay, and like the frame rate was god awful. It looked complete to me. Like that was definitely not a me game, though. I'm gonna say this right now.
It wasn't something that I was up on either. So
exactly, but and maybe that's a me problem. Maybe you were excited for it, and that's good. But like to me, this game looked like what was drawing people to this game.
You know, a lot of people get excited about dragons. Well, my wife gets excited when my dick is dragging on the floor.
I promise you the only reason I promise you the only reason why that game got any hype whatsoever is because of the haters that hate Xbox made this a big deal that Xbox canceled this project.
Whenever that shit gets brought up, and like, bury that fucking shit. It's years ago. It's dead and gone. Fucking like leave it already. It's not a big fucking deal. Got to get to the
here we are bringing it up again.
A big deal. Axel dropping in $4.99 in the super chat. He says a partnership between Oculus and Xbox would be a win-win-win. Xbox gets xCloud and Facebook and Insta. Facebook gets their names on a console. We get more games. Yes, I think he's on to something there. He's definitely on to something, Axel. Very smart comment. You might be on to something. There's more than meets the eye here. There's definitely a relationship and something building that we just don't see yet. But trust me, it's not over and done. I think they're just turning over the eggs to another side right now.
And this is going to take some time even to develop yet, right? Like it's crazy how many everyone in the chat, isn't it? Yeah. Don't you find it wild how many hands in how many buckets do Microsoft have their hands in right now? Remember, like it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about Nintendo and Microsoft partnership.
Yeah,
right?
I agree, man. You're better. You know what? You're better off being a master of a. It's no good to be a jack of all trades. Better to be a master of a couple than a jack of all trades and master of none.
That's true. Yeah.
Right, and we've seen all the disappointments, and and you're talking about it's just more than just gaming. You're talking about things like their phones, different streaming services, and it goes for both ways. Sony, Microsoft, they've dabbled with different things, and some things work and some things don't. And I guess that's just the way of the world. That's how business goes. You got to try. But there's so many factors that have to fall in place, and timing is one of the biggest fucking things. If sometimes you're just either ahead of the industry curve or you're fucking behind it, and that's the thing. You always got to gamble when you're trying to get out ahead, because the person who usually puts their fucking their fucking foot down first is the ones that cement themselves in history, and the ones that come following suit after usually end up where going out of fucking business. Because I mean, look, if you think about it, Facebook, right? How many people have tried to come along and tried to do the same thing that Facebook's done? Guess where they are? Nowhere. Nobody talks about anything but Facebook, because Facebook did it first. Whether they did it better,
well, MySpace did it first, right?
MySpace. Yeah,
I love MySpace. I hate Facebook.
Yeah, there was a few different ones, but Facebook took it to another level. But you know what I'm saying, Titan, right?
That's one thing. Hold on. That's one thing I'll never understand, though, is because I love everyone I knew we all had MySpaces. We all loved it. How the hell did Facebook undercut them and just take the hell over? Because when I went to Facebook, I'm like, what's so special about this?
Because somebody at MySpace stopped innovating. That's what happened. That's what happens to a lot of these companies. They get something, they get popular, and then they get complacent. They don't improve. They don't innovate. They kind of stay stagnant, and somebody comes along with a better program and markets the shit out of it better. That's the biggest thing, and boom, there you go.
Marketing. I'll get you with marketing, because I'm with Freddie Fox in the chat. He thought MySpace was better. So did I.
Was.
You load up a page, a song starts playing. That was freaking amazing. And you could design your own page with all kinds of stuff. That was so freaking cool.
Indeed.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was all marketing. Maybe, man.
Well, Facebook is just everywhere. That's the thing. When it just
wasn't at the time, though.
It
wasn't at the time.
No, not at the time, but whatever they did something, and obviously became fucking super huge, whether it was signing agreements to get Facebook on every mobile platform, or maybe it was the first to do an app. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Then it's word of mouth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're more than exception of the rule than the rule itself, because like I said, Twitch was one of the first big streaming services, and like, again, they're hard to knock off the perch. Mixer, and as far as I'm concerned, Mixer was better. Mixer was better in my opinion. But see, there you go. Mixer was better, but couldn't make a dent because they couldn't get a foothold in it. So there you go. And Microsoft,
because people don't know what's better for them. I swear to God, in this world, I swear to God, people just follow these influencers, and these influencers have no education. They're all clowns.
There you go. Freddie Fox says, true, MySpace didn't improve. Till this day, MySpace is still more customizable. And customizing is great, but again, it comes down to userability. That's the other thing, is how user-friendly things are for people. How easy they are to accept, are accessible. Because when Facebook started getting big, that's all I saw everywhere was Facebook. You buy a phone, Facebook was on it. You get a fucking tablet, Facebook was on that. Everything was Facebook. And like somebody brought this up in the chat earlier too. Like I like the name Beam better than Mixer. I still do to this day. Mixer sounds like it should be a fucking app for fucking mixing drinks.
You're right.
So
Boom pointed that out too. Like what does what does Mixer, the word, have to do with anything streaming?
Exactly.
Are we all mixing together like a cocktail?
I think that was the overall intent. It was a mix, like a mix of people coming together to play games, but you could have just left it at fucking Beam, and but nope, they had to switch it up. And
no, I think Beam. No, I think there was someone else had the rights to Beam, and they had to change. I think that's why they changed it.
Mixer sound like a cake baking website, says a human spider.
Right.
Yeah. Social Mixer, and again, lack of marketing with Mixer. You're going back to that lack of marketing. Microsoft never really did come out like, if they fucking market it. Let's just say this: if Mixer was getting as much push with their fucking platform as they're doing with Game Pass, different fate. Different fate.
Wait, say that again. If Mixer gets as much
If
push,
Microsoft put as much push behind Mixer and
okay.
promoted it properly through videos on the dashboard or different presentations, it could have been much bigger. Look what they're doing with Game Pass. Game Pass.
But are you hitting on their the marketing squad over there at Microsoft, man?
Yeah, they're hit and miss, man. That's the fucking truth.
They missed that one. You ain't lying.
Yeah, no, Microsoft when it comes to marketing,
right.
super hit and miss. But we know one thing they're definitely killing the marketing is Game Pass. I mean, Game Pass almost sells itself. There's no question. But fuck, every time I turn on my dashboard, I see Game Pass. Every time I go to renew my subscription for something, I see get Game Pass. I see Game Pass, game available in Game Pass. I see it on TV. See, there you go. It's everywhere. When you can't avoid it, then you're doing something right.
Then marketing is doing something right. That's absolutely right. Yeah. But for I swear to God, like Microsoft had like good marketing for like a couple months, and then Aaron Greenberg steps in and puts his foot in his mouth, and I swear, man, the dude this dude, I understand he's a great guy and people love him. You gotta love him because he's terrible at his job, I'm just speaking just bluntly right now. You cannot be the head of marketing and put your foot in your mouth. You have to when you're tweeting crap, you gotta reread it a few times.
In all fairness to you, you can be a genius at marketing and you can understand what your fans are telling you, and you're like, you're right. You know what? You're right. But the end of the fucking day, and this is the problem with any major multi-billion-dollar corporation, especially the bigger you get, it's harder to get, is walking into a fucking boardroom and telling them, this is what I think is going to work, but it's going to cost this amount of money here and there and there. And every company will spend money in different places. Some will spend it in one section and others will spend it in another. I know from working in radio, I learned a lot of these same principles of business. The stuff that I was a DJ, a lot of the stuff, put it this way, that my old manager fucking loved me for, the other manager that took over his place hated me for the same fucking reasons. Like, I'd go to him, this is what's going to work in my community. Trust me, I've been at this for a while. No, we don't agree with you there. Well, I think this is going to bring us in money to the station. No, I don't agree. Let's go this fucking, you know what I'm saying? So like at the end of the day, I think Aaron is very smart. I think he knows certain things, but I think at the end of the day, it's much like Phil and the rest of the company were for a very long time. Their hands were tied. Knowing how to do stuff and getting it done at the end of the day all comes down to dollars and cents. And if you don't have the dollars, shit makes no sense. And then they just move on and you're just like, well, and the problem is it's like everybody looks at the social, like I see this with the local business aspect. It's hard to get local businesses in my city to spend money on radio advertising. You know why? Because they're fucking convinced that going and doing it free with a Facebook ad is just as good for them. And you know what? In some cases it is, but in other cases it's not. It depends on the following they already have. It depends on the product that you sell and who your targets are. A lot of people don't understand those things about business. They don't understand who the real targets are. Like, you know what? A lot of people think that Xbox target is the fucking hardcore guys, like the people watching this program and the people on this podcast channel, but it's fucking not. You know, their targets are the casuals, and they're trying to get wherever they feel the casual market is, because they know our hardcore guys don't need to be sold on their products. We know the games, we know the hardware, and we're going to buy it. How many guys already got their pre-orders lined up for Xbox Series X, even though you have no idea if the system's any fucking good? People's got it already. But what does Microsoft do? They put ads on fucking Pop-Tart boxes. They put Game Pass in fucking places you would have never thought they should put Game Pass. This is what I'm saying, because they know the hardcore guys will spend their money regardless, and they know the ones that you got to rope in are the fucking casuals, the moms and the dads who are looking to spend that $300 bill, but they don't have a fucking clue. So they're more likely, they're not going on YouTube to watch Titan Drago and Noof Nukem tell them they need Game Pass on an Xbox. They're going to walk into a Walmart. They should, but they're going to walk into a Walmart and they're going to see a random fucking ad on a bag of potato chips saying, get Xbox, like Doritos and the Pepsi promotions and shit, or Taco Bell. See, this is what I'm saying. People think it's stupid, but that shit gets major traction. It puts the names out there. That's about it. I'm getting way the fuck off topic tonight, but yeah.
Hey, can you do a like a quick thing with the chat and stuff? I gotta go piss, man.
Yeah, man, no problem. I'll talk
Right
to the
back.
chat. Let's catch up with everybody. Anyway, Wilmy Hood's still hanging out with us. What's happening, brother? Glad you could be here. Glad to hear you on the RDX podcast tonight. Great stuff. um, yeah. Human Spider, my dog is obese. Yeah, a lot of things are obese. Abacab, what's happening, man? Thanks for stopping by and checking it out. All that good stuff. Crazy Greek dudes in the house. Who else did I miss here tonight, guys? Free Fox. We got Dreadpool, Spider-Man, Timothy Dixon. Great crew here tonight, guys. Thanks for being with us. If you're coming in late, Primal's been having some issues with the internet again. Although tonight she didn't make it at all. Apparently they're having a storm, so it's messing with her power. So maybe she figured it was better to just not be here. But Rico, what's going on, Rico? How you doing, man? Glad you could be here. Cheers to you, Dreadpool. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. We're getting down to the last few topics. Titan's gonna go drain the lizard. He'll be right back. Always good to have Titan on the show. It's been a long fucking time since he's been here. But he's a great dude. I love his how he articulates and all that stuff is fantastic. Hope everybody's doing good. What games is everybody playing in the chat? Are you not another one? Frank O'Connor now? Jeez. Man, I think if I was a dude working in a fucking game industry, I think I'd just put a bag on my head and a fucking mute button on. Just stay in my office and not talk to anybody, especially if you got two tits and a pair of legs. Jesus Christ. It's like every time I turn on the fucking news, there's always somebody at sexual harassment and shit. Jesus. Man, I tell you,
Hi.
what qualifies as sexual harassment nowadays would be fucking, I hate to see what shit would have went over back in the 70s and 80s.
Leave and come back to sexual harassment. All right.
I know. Well, Abacab says, so is it true that Frank O'Connor's being fired for sexual harassment? You guys know Frank O'Connor works with 343, a huge name behind the Halo franchise. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but we did hear that Ron fucking Jeremy is being accused of sexual assaults and shit. So apparently some rapes and all that stuff.
Rapes?
So
Plural.
rapes, plural, maybe more than one. Fuck, I don't know, man. I know the world is fucking gone weird. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Dude, the
yeah.
weird has completely outnumbered the normal. I'm convinced.
Innocent until proven guilty. That's what you're saying. It didn't happen unless they can find semen. Sorry, guys. In all honesty, I shouldn't even joke about that. It's a serious stuff, and I don't wish harm and ill will toward anybody, man or woman. This is serious allegations and not cool at all. So I'll just leave it at that. And these are topics not for gaming podcasts, for other types of shit. Leave that shit up to someone like our good friend, the Asher Luca. She's good with that stuff. Just go over to check out fucking Scumcast. It's hilarious. She can give you an earful. Yeah. But anyway, let's get down to a few more topics. We got some fun ones coming up now. We switch over to the movie side of things here right now. And this one was shocking. Like I said, this world gets weirder by the minute.
Shocking news every day.
Yeah. Michael Keaton, guys. You remember Michael Keaton? He played Tim Burton's Batman. Well, apparently he's in contract negotiations to reprise the role in a new Flash movie, apparently. I don't know what the fuck's going on with the timeline, but you heard that correctly. Yes, the original Michael Keaton, well, he's not the original Batman, but he's probably one of the most revered and probably most beloved. People are like, is he over the fucking, what do you think, Titan? Like, can he still pull? I think he certainly can. I don't think Michael Keaton's to the point. Yeah, he's gotten a little grayer and a little less hair on the top, but, you know, once he puts on that fucking cowl, I don't think anybody's going to notice a difference.
All right, dude. Well, yeah, the cowl for one, and for two is what about the CGI technology they have right now? I don't think anyone's too old for any role anymore. They can turn, they can turn Princess Leia into young Princess Leia. Like, wow, I mean, you know, and it's just so that stuff's pretty amazing. But you know, it's a funny story. Like, I can't tell you how many people have told me that I look like Michael Keaton. Even my wife, like, I used to be a casino dealer. I used to deal, you know, craps, blackjack, and this and that. Like, I can't tell you how many people are like, man, you look like Michael Keaton. So that's kind of cool that he's making a comeback because, hey, Hollywood, listen to this. Hey, I'll do a movie.
He has been making a comeback over the last few years. He's been on a lot of fantastic movies. One you should definitely check out if you guys haven't seen it. It's called The Founder. And it's actually the based on a true life story of the guys who founded McDonald's, and he was the salesman. He didn't found it, but he was the guy that sort of bought it out from underneath their nose and turned it into the multi-billion-dollar franchise that it is today. So he played the character in that movie. It's a fantastic movie. Definitely go check that one out. Yeah, and of course, he was in the Spider-Man movie there a while back. The Amazing Spider-Man was not the Amazing one. The one with um, Homecoming. Was it Homecoming? Or the one before that? Far from Home, right? Far from home. Yeah, he was in that one. He played the Vulture, so that was pretty cool. I like Michael Keaton. He's a great method actor. He has he can do so many different roles. I love the way he portrayed Batman in those Tim Burton. Those movies are classic, man. They never get old to me. I love those.
And
So
and you know what? I guarantee you're really happy to hear about this because I know you and the was it Robert Pattinson's Batman? I know you're an opposer of that.
Ugh. I'm gonna just say with Robert Pattinson, I'll give him. I'm not going to write him off. Let me just say that because look, I learned a couple times already. I was totally. I mean, I was more against fucking Ben Affleck playing Batman than I was Robert Pattinson, and actually Ben Affleck turned out to be pretty fucking good. I mean, nobody, in my opinion, and my favorite Batman is still Christian Bale. Christian Bale fucking played that version of Batman insanely good. I loved it. I mean, most people always make fun of the voice, but I mean, obviously, if you're Batman, it's kind of, there's a very few people that have the amazing voice of what's his name, Kevin Conroy, who plays Batman in the Arkham Asylum games and who plays Batman in a lot of the cartoons. Now, he's got a cool voice for Batman, right? But very few people have that voice. So, yeah, of course I'm Batman. You got to disguise it a little bit, right? But I love Christian Bale, man. Keaton was amazing too. Keaton, I mean, people shit on Keaton when he first took that role. Or like, this little fucking scrawny Beetlejuice prick is gonna fucking play Batman, and he killed it. He knocked it out of the park. Only upstaged by Jack Nicholson in the first one, but fantastic, right?
I'm with Spider-Man. I actually give Spider-Man L a Spider-Man W on this one because he says the Keaton was the best Batman, and I'm with him on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because he was the Bat when we were kids, and it's that reminiscent factor. I don't know, but I'm with him on this one. And you know what? They don't even have to do that CGI because I don't know if you heard, but it's all about the multiverse on this one.
That's right, Jeff.
That's right. So he can be old in this movie because he's playing the old Batman, supposedly.
Yeah. Superheroes get old too. That's okay. I mean, even in the comics, there's various versions of Batman and Superman where they're definitely older and more mature. It doesn't mean they still can't go and kick ass. Fuck, if Arnold Schwarzenegger can still play the fucking Terminator, Michael Keaton can jump in the Batman suit.
Heck, and Rambo's still out there killing people.
Rambo's still out there killing people. Fucking Harrison Ford's doing Indiana Jones next year.
How old is Michael Keaton? Someone search that for me.
Like, at this rate, are we going to see a sequel to Moses? He's fucking going to come back and burn down another tree. He's got the 20 commandments lined up. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, man, but you could come up with a Moses, but I'm still more shocked. And there could be more Rambo, and there could be more Rocky on the way. With Sylvester Stallone. I think he handed the Creed series over to Michael B. Jordan. Yep. But there's been talks about a new Rambo and a new Rocky as well.
Rambo, I think, is done. I think Stallone's put that one to bed. I mean, they left it open a little bit at the last one, but I think he's kind of done with that franchise. Rocky,
no, he's not. I just saw recently that there's a talk about a new one.
Really?
I did.
Interesting, because the last I saw, and this was from him himself on his videos, he seemed like he was pretty happy and content with the way the last one ended, and it didn't seem like there was any hope for another one. I know there was talk of another Expendables, because those movies made some major cash and of course brought everybody together. So I hope the Terminators are fucking done. I'm sick of those now. I love the Terminator friend, don't get me wrong, but I mean the last few movies are just so fucking bad. The story's getting so convoluted and stupid.
But the last one ended so good, right?
The last one was much better than the previous 2 or 3 before it. I like the grittiness and the realist side of the one Salvation with Christian Bale, but that one made almost absolutely new sense to the timeline of everything, plus totally different characters and stuff. But I like that one in its own right, but it just felt off. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and that Genesis one, that was just weird altogether. Ugh. But anyway, getting off track. But anyway, I'm all for it. If Keaton comes back to play Batman, I'd watch it on that alone just to see it. Like, I think he's a fantastic guy. So yeah, I'm a big Stallone fan too, man. I love his movies. He had a few shitty ones here and there, but you know, some of his great movies are just fucking awesome. I love that Rambo character, man. It's one of my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
Rambo 3, Rambo 2 was a classic.
Yeah.
You know, even the Rambo from, like, was it 2008 when he's in, like, fucking Burma? That was so bad, and that was so
Yeah.
fucking violent. I was like, holy
Yeah, it was
shit.
brutal.
It's like, damn. Yeah, but anyway, let's get on to the next topic again. We only got a couple more. Keeping it with sort of a movie style theme, looks like a Suicide Squad game reportedly in the works at Rocksteady. I didn't care for the movie, and I don't really care for that side of the comics. How do you feel about that? I mean, obviously, one of the best developers out in the business behind it, but what do you think of it?
No, man, scrap everything. Scrap it all. Just put it in the blender, and then disintegrate everything, man. Like I couldn't stand Suicide Squad. I can't stand the dude's Joker. It's all a clown show to me.
The only hope I have for it is that Rocksteady is doing it, which I'm assuming, you know, it'll feel and look large, very similar to the Arkham games. But I'm not a fan of Suicide Squad. I don't think it would be a hit unless this game's amazing. And
I'll tell you what.
I'd have to know more about it because there's going to be so many characters. And that's one thing we've always seen with a lot of these games that have multiple characters is they get so it's like movies that have multiple characters. They get so convoluted. They get so just like wrapped up in themselves. You can't concentrate and they usually end up stinking.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if this is like a real testament to Rocksteady's skills and abilities right here. If they can make this game good for me, then man, they're literally one of the best, man. Like they're really damn good right now, but this will probably boost them to like number 4 or 5 on the developer list for me.
You know, we need like a fucking great Spawn game, or perhaps like a really good Deadpool game, because the one that came out a few years ago wasn't exactly stellar, but a fucking really good Deadpool game, I'd be on top of that shit. Like, as a Spawn, he deserves a fucking comeback in his own damn game. You know, lots of great people out there. Fuck, I think you could even make a fantastic Green Arrow game for that matter. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt RC, what's happening, man? I appreciate the comment, bro.
I was just rewatching the series of Smallville. Have you ever seen the Smallville series before?
I know, but never. I think I watched one episode. I just wasn't keen on the whole Superman before he was Superman. You know what I mean?
Man, it's so good, dude. I would suggest steering away from season 1 because I could sum up season 1 for you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He's battling a different enemy every time, and he's discovering his abilities, and it's like that's basically season 1. And season 2 is where it starts, like the plot starts thickening, and Michael Rosenbaum, man, literally, someone said it on Twitter and I agreed with them. He's literally the best Lex Luthor possible. He played it the best. It was fucking amazing how he played Lex Luthor, dude.
Indeed. Good stuff. All right, just trying to catch up with the chat here, man. Easy money, Jesse Darby. Yeah, man, appreciate the love, guys. Honestly, the support is greatly appreciated. I was saying to Titan Drago, I think before the show too, he was asking me what the top number was for this podcast. And I've been at this now. We started Gaming After Dark, if I'm correct. I think it was back in January. We went with this particular format. I think our top was 52. In this at one time. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very small growth. I see a lot of the same familiar faces, which is fantastic. I love you guys. The support's been amazing. Would definitely like to see this grow larger. I don't know, like people always ask, Noof, I'm surprised you don't have more followers or more people viewing. I'm like, well, I don't know. I can't figure out the secret. I don't know what the secret of success is.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's why I said earlier. I think if you throw this on a slightly earlier time slot, just slightly earlier, maybe you'll have to do it on a different day. But
heck, I got a sexy female co-host, and we still can't get the numbers. Right?
I really think it's just maybe a little too late. Like maybe it's. Well,
one of the blessings of having the small chat one of the blessings of having a small chat is you guys know me. I don't like doing this stuff if I can't interact with you guys.
That's
So
true.
having the small chat gives me a chance to read what you guys are saying and interact with you a little bit and give you the proper acknowledgments and shout outs that you deserve for taking time out of your day or your night to be here and spend it with us fucking blokes. So you guys are awesome for that. Like I said, I appreciate that more than anybody out there.
And
So
that's
yeah, thank
something
you.
you're kind of losing with RDX. Like I love RDX. I've been a dealer and Colt fan since they were the ones that got me into YouTube. And I put my YouTube channel on pause right now because of my teaching. I can't, because I'm going to have a student that knows who I am next year.
Yeah.
So I got to put that on pause until that's over with. But they were the ones that got me into this. And they were not nearly as big when I knew them before. And they've literally just blown up, man.
Yeah,
and I can't
I
be
know.
more happy.
Over 2,500 people. Crazy.
Man, I can't be more happy for those guys blowing
but
up.
that's just it. The bigger your channel comes with the great perks of being a big channel. You get the sponsorships. You can actually make some money at this. But the downside is well, you know,
you kind of lose that one-on-one.
And the bigger you get, the smaller your audience gets. I don't mean small by numbers, but the smaller they get because you can't acknowledge them. You can't. They can't even keep up with their super chats.
It's physically impossible.
So yeah, they can't even keep up with their super chats. You know, like it does. They get so many of them now. It's insane.
And he does such a great job with it, anyways. But literally, they're literally getting too big. You know, like I told them they need to go on more platforms, this and that. But man, it is a really good thing to see those.
You know, the crazy part is I was asked to be a member of that panel, believe it or not.
I know it.
I was asked to be a member of the panel, and I turned them down, not because I wouldn't love to be there. I had to turn them down because of the same reasons I had to leave the other podcast I was currently in, because I had too much going on and I could never make it home in time to get on their podcast. So it was just one of those things. But I'm right now I'm laid off. I'm good to guest anytime, and I think dealers planning to line me up here when the content is fitting of bringing a new Nukem onto the panel, right? Because some things I can't chat on, but there's going to be times when, perhaps
you're underselling yourself, Noof, man. You're a radio personality. You can talk about anything forever.
If they want to talk about physical games, I'm sure he'll bring me on in a heartbeat because Noof's going to run on a rant. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. We've only got a few left to go. So again, I think the Suicide Squad game is a no for most of us here. That's not boding well. When most of the people in the chat and the two people on the panel are kind of like, that's not a good way to already start going with it. Now, whether it exists or not, I don't know. But if it is true, they're going to have a hard time selling this one, I think. The other news of the week, this one sort of comes as no surprise, but it's disappointing all the same. And that is Cyberpunk 2077 has now been delayed till November. So if you guys haven't heard that news already, now you know. It was originally pushed to the spring, then it got pushed to the fall, and now it gets pushed a couple extra months because I think originally it was supposed to come out in September, theoretically about a month or so before the Xbox Series X, and now it looks like it could potentially come out during the launch day window, or maybe even perhaps the same day as the Series X Titan. What do you think about the delay? Is it going to be, is this a great thing? Are they just guys buying time so they can get it ready for the Series X? What do you think is behind this? Because to all my knowledge, it sounds like these guys are pretty much done with this game.
Well, it's the COVID, man, and you don't want to hear it, but it is. Just when people are working from home, you can't expect the same level of work to get done when people are doing it from home as they're doing it from in the workplace. It's unrealistic to expect the same amount of work to get done, and that's, I think, with anything. That's why I'm worried about this coming up football season, is because they're all having online video chats with they're training rookies through videos and stuff, and it's like, that's going to be interesting to see, even if we have a football season this year. I don't know much about it. I haven't been following it, but it's not sounding good. But especially for a team that gets a lot of rookies, but that's a little bit off topic. But for this game, it's like smart delivery has now just become delivery, right? That's pretty much out the window now. Anyone that's going to be upgrading the next gen, I believe will have the next gen consoles before this game comes out right now. What do you think?
Yeah, well, hold your thought there, Titan, because Infinite said something that I read earlier today, but I kind of slipped my mind on. Apparently, the reviews are coming out for Cyberpunk on Thursday. That many of the media outlets already have the game, and they're allowing it to be reviewed because I guess the source code is done. Kind of interesting. I don't recall in the industry this has ever happened where a game would be allowed to be reviewed so far away from its actual release. What's your take on this? Do you think this is going to be good for the game? Or maybe they're very confident in it, obviously, and think that it's going to score high because, like, if this game comes out in the tanks to say it scores bad, which I'm very doubtful, but let's just say it theoretically did, Jesus, that's a long fucking time to wait till November to get really disappointed. What do you
No,
think?
that to me that screams confidence like no other. That really
Oh
does. Like
man, doesn't it?
I don't think there's any like they know what they have. We all know they're a fantastic studio, and I think they all know what the product that they have. So that to me that screams confidence because then they're good. Then that could even build more hype. This could be something that happens more in the future to the companies that really know the product that they have is going to be a hit for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
See, my thought overall, like, I'm okay with the delay. I mean, obviously, we got massive backlogs. It's not like it used to be. It's not like it's the only game we're waiting on for months on end. We've got tons of stuff to play. We're gonna have tons of stuff throughout the early parts of the fall. That's not the question. Here's the deal. Generally, delays mean developers get to go back and improve the game. But the problem I'm seeing over the last year, a couple of years in particular, this hasn't been the case anymore. We're seeing delay after delay after delay on various games. We saw it with Anthem and Mass Effect and Fallout 76. The list goes on. We've seen all these games that get fucking delayed and multiple times, and they still come out and they're fucking broken pieces of shit.
The thing is, imagine if they weren't delayed, though. Imagine what state they'd be in if they were not delayed. Like something had to be done in that time, right? Like
the bugs go from 90% down to 70%. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm sure they're doing something, right? I mean, they've got to be fixing all kinds of bugs, like maybe game-breaking bugs here and there, because that's what it's got to be, right? They're like maybe like save corrupts, here or there. You always see about those some very randomly in very random games here and there because that's the worst. If you can't save your game when it's supposed to, and then you got to start all over again, that is the worst, especially someone like me who never wants to play the same game over twice, put me in that position where the save doesn't work or it corrupts.
Yeah.
And then I got to do all that crap over again. Oh, it's the worst. It's almost like I don't even want to play the game anymore.
Totally. Yeah. Technical glitches I can handle. I don't care if somebody's eyeballs bugs out during a cutscene or, the horse disappears into the trees and turns upside down. As long as you can keep playing. It's the ones that break, the ones that break the game are bad.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I did a I did it once. And I planned on having a consistent stream of that, but that was when I was doing a video every week, and that fell apart. But I did a segment called "When Glitches Are Fun," and because glitches can be fun, right? And I did it with the game Friday the 13th, right? Which when it started, it ran terrible, but they added patches, and it got the game running good. And I loved the game. A lot of people didn't like it, but I loved it. And there was this one time where Jason, I made a video of it. He like flipped the car. Like you're not supposed to be able to flip the car when you're Jason. And it was like one of those things when glitches are fun because the game was still playable. And it's like, but it gave you that what the crap moment, and it didn't break the game, but it just added something unexpected, right? And those are the good glitches.
Oh, for sure. And you just get a laugh. I saw one just a couple of days ago. Somebody was shared a clip of The Last of Us where Ellie was trying to shoot people in one of the sections and the gun had disappeared. So she's shooting an invisible gun. Then all of a sudden it looked like a parrot, like she had false teeth that came out of her head and she was whacking people with it. Like it was hilarious. It was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, like her teeth separated from her head and then somehow it looked like it was a weapon. It was fucking hilarious.
Dude, in Call of Duty the other day, we're doing the drop and as you drop, like right before you drop, it pans the screen pans over to what your guys look like. And I swear to God, my friend looked like a sloth Are you gone? I was cracking up, man.
Yeah, you see, PUBG was notorious. I mean, people showing up with no clothes on and textures not popping in, and yeah, that was notorious. And we've seen it with a lot of games. Like I said, as long as the games are still playable, they're not like broken where you lose all your save files or you can't progress. Those are bad. Nothing more frustrating is you're going through a friggin' level and all of a sudden you go to check a corner out maybe for a hidden item and all of a sudden you're character mysteriously stuck on something that's not even there, and you're like, fuck, you won't move, I can't roll, I can't get out of, I'm just stuck, so I got to reset to a checkpoint or a save point, stuff like that kind of ruins it a little bit, but few and far between. I'm pretty sure because it is who it is, I'm not worried about Cyberpunk so much, because these guys at CD Projekt Red, you can see with the love and attention to detail and the stuff that they put into The Witcher 3, which is a massive game as well. That's why I'm very confident that they'll be just fine because, they're just ironing out the last little bits. I think they're very close and doesn't seem like they're rushing it and there's anybody pushing them to rush it out. They're going to do it when they're ready to do it. And I think it makes sense. If it comes out in November and it's in that launch window, it's going to be a huge deal for the new consoles trying to sell. The game's going to be a hit regardless. People are dying for it. I know I can't wait to pick it up. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Can't wait. I think the delay is good.
Jesse Darby in the chat says Michael Keaton is 68. Thanks for checking that out for us, buddy. That's
damn.
If Stallone's over 70, I know that much. And so I mean, yeah, why not, right? Mm-hmm. I'm down with Michael Keaton. And then Spider-Man says 95 on Meta. Mm-hmm. Delays won't find. I don't want any bugs. Delays find. I don't want any bugs. Yeah, I agree. 95 on Meta. Yeah, I think. Good guess, man. I'm right there.
Michael Keaton's like, when they ask, "Who are you?" I'm Wheelchair Man. Fucking not batarangs. He's throwing his fucking bottles of Viagra, fucking clinking upside everybody's head.
I'm Alfred. I mean Batman.
Alfred's like a fucking 102.
150.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, delays are generally good. I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, it sucks. It's disappointing. Nobody can say you're not disappointed, but it's not something that I'm going to sit here and make a fucking video like, oh, fuck you, CD Projekt Red, you pricks. Like it's becoming a normal in the game industry now. Very rarely have I ever seen a game in the last 5 years that, oh, this is our target date for coming out. Unless it happens to be like COD or some shit. And that's because, well, they got dedicated teams making basically the same fucking game year in and year out. So that's why those are so much easier to pump out and all that stuff. So, yeah. So there you go. We're down to the final question of the night. So we hit the 2-hour mark. Holy shit, the time's really flying. And that is Primal Eve's question of the night. It's a great one and a great one for everybody in the chat as well. Her question was, and I wish she was here to do this. I miss her. Do you like being bad or good? And she means in games in general. In games that give you the option to play a side, which side do you normally choose? Is it the good side or the bad side? Which do you choose? And I guess basically why? So let's go with our guest, and this from Titan. How do you like to roll your characters when you're doing a game like that?
Dude, this is probably the best question she's ever had. I like to go evil, dark, and as dark and as evil as possible. But the thing is, on all the Fable games, like I like to play just like a mixture, like the decisions you make, literally whatever will do me better at the time. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So usually my character in Fable games comes out in the middle of the road. It could be, one way or the other, but it's not to the extreme.
Right.
But as far as the look, I love the dark and evil, like horns, like Viking horns, right, and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, Fable was an interesting game because your character actually took on different appearances. Yes. If you went bad, like you said, you would get horns, your eyes would get red, your skin and everything. That was very interesting. And Fable was weird because it didn't have as many of the life or death style of choices at play, but it had lots of these little things like farting next to people and going out and committing adultery and all that sort of shit. It was pretty nuts. I mean, I'd say generally for myself, 90% of the time, maybe on my second playthrough I choose to go with evil, but I like to be good. I think my moral compass is just I want to do good. I want to be the hero. I want to do right by the people in a game, kind of like I model. And usually when I'm playing a game, whether it's Mass Effect or games like that give you a lot of those options, I try to approach it like I would approach it, as if it was me getting asked those questions and how would I
Yeah.
feel. But
Yeah.
sometimes the way the games play out, and that's the thing, and that was the one. One of some of the hardest ones with this, and the ones who did it kind of really well but really tricky, were the Telltale games. Because the Telltale games not necessarily made you good or bad, but they always gave you these fucking choices, these morally tough choices in the Telltale games. And every time you went to make them, well, first of all, if you guys are familiar with Telltale games, you know that you had a very limited amount of time to make a choice. So you had to read what they were giving you to think about. And then you kind of sit there going, oh shit, like I got to make a choice. I got to do it quick. And if I make a choice, even though I think it's the right one, it technically could be the wrong one by the way these games play out. Because, somebody might look good in a game. One character you might think is good could turn out to be evil because you don't know if you're going to get double crossed or you don't know if they're lying. So those sorts of things come into play. And I think those are interesting dynamics in games that hopefully we see more of. It's a real human element. But generally, just to answer the question, I like to be good. Let's catch up with the chat. Let's see here. Joe Dunmore, the good guy. He doesn't know why. Loon Smile on Mass Effect, he was like 90% Paragon, 10% Renegade. It's a little evil in there. Dreadpool says he usually good. Spider-Man plays a bit of both. Loon Smile says usually good. Greek Dude says good. So most people seem like they go with the good guy most of the time. So
that's why I feel like I'm a good guy in real life, so I kind of want to get away from that and like do everything evil in the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? The evil side of most games, though, to be honest with you, it feels wrong, but at the same time, a lot of times it's also a lot of fun. When you're able to play a lot of those characters, it's fun because you get to often do things that get against the moral compass, and you get to do shit that you normally wouldn't otherwise do. Like sometimes in the game, you just want to smack somebody upside the head for no good reason, right? Like in GTA does that shit really well because when the cops will chase you go in and be like, walking into a fucking place. Like, should I rob this place? Because there's easy money here if I want to make some money. I rob it, but then you got the choice. Now I got to run from the cops, right? And you build a reputation. So
no one will ever do it better than Fable, though, man. Well, did you play that game Frostpunk?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, it's like a top-down strategy game where you're just like controlling, like you got decisions to make. You're like the I don't know if you want to call it the mayor. I don't know if they call it the mayor. You're essentially the mayor of this group of trying to survive civilians, and based upon your opinions or based upon your decisions over time. And then at the end, what a lot of games fail to do is show you the repercussions of your decisions. And this game did it really good. Like Fable did it good. And this game, Frostpunk, does it really well. Like it really says, well, this is the decision you made and this is what happened. If you would have done this is what would I loved that about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like right now in The Last of Us, for example, you're getting to play the game from a few different perspectives. I'll say no more than that. But the game kind of plays out for you. There's really no choice in the matter. But it is interesting to see how the story takes on a different aspect or life of its own by looking at it through a different viewpoint. It's quite interesting. I'll leave it at that. Let you guys play the game and make up your own minds on it. But yeah, it's a great question tonight. Just catch up with the chat. Easy money. It chooses to be honorable in Red Dead Redemption 2, but sometimes I like to be bad as fuck on a separate save file. Axel, he likes to usually be the good guy. His wife likes being the bad person. That sounds like real life. Like I'm the good professor who gives the bads. Well, that's the thing, eh? Our wives are usually the bad guys. They just hide behind the cute smile and exterior, but behind closed doors, they're like the fucking the judge, jury, and executioner in your household. You know what I mean? It's like, you do what I say, bitch. You know what I mean? If not, I'm gonna hold this pussy accountable. You ain't getting no more. That's pretty much how it goes for guys. We are slaves to the vag. Yes. Oh man. Infinite. I'm usually good, but like to switch it up once in a while. But yeah, that is the end of the podcast, guys. I do apologize that Primal couldn't be here tonight. I was looking so forward to it, especially with Titan coming on as well. Hopefully she's back next week. I gotta sort some serious stuff out with Primal. If this podcast is to continue, and I mean that wholeheartedly, not in a bad way, but we got to figure something out because everything's just they almost eat week in week out. She's basically not here or miss half the shows, so I'm trying to figure that out. It's not the same without her, but at the same point in time, I got to figure something out here. So, and that's why I'm kind of going through the trials. We have Cray Simmons hopefully next week, and after that, we get a few more guests. I know Axel, you're in the chat. I do have you down as a guest here soon. It might be sooner than you think. I'll let you know. I'm just going into order the way I've written them down on my notes, so I'll keep you posted. I just want to say huge thanks to Titan Drago for coming in here and being an amazing guest tonight. Fantastic viewpoints, always a lot of fun, and to all the chat, you guys are amazing. So Titan, without any further ado, I'll let you get out of here, brother. I know it's getting late, so let people know where they can find you, how they can check you out, and are you sort of back into the fold a little bit more? Can we expect to see more bringing Common back to sense?
That's right. You remember. It's been a year and you still remember my slogan line. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I plan I put on my Twitter like I'm slowly getting back into the podcast scene, and as far as the summer goes, I think I'm pretty clear. I don't really have anything planned. I think even the professional development I have, I think I'm going to be able to work it all out, this and that. So I think my summer's pretty good. Just depend. I just don't know when the school year gets going again.
Right.
That's kind of, I got to play that by ear. But dude, I remember when we were on Salty's podcast, you came along, man. I knew, and let me know in the chat if you guys think the same thing too as you guys get out of here. But I knew, like, when I heard you, and I knew I know what I have to bring to the table, but I knew we would mesh well together. Like, as soon as you came on, and sure enough, man, and like tonight it was just you and me, and like this thing went off without a hitch, in my opinion. Like, it went so cool. Like, I think we really gel well together. Like, and I always respected you for that because I don't think I can even do it like you do it. Like, you have this just natural, you said you were a disc jockey, right?
That's right.
So you have this like natural ability to it all. And I think and I just, I think I fill in the missing pieces pretty well with you. Like, that's why I've always been excited to do podcasts with you, man. But, other than that, everybody, Titan Drago, I had to shut the channel down for the foreseeable future. And I'm on Twitter.
Titan, my tip of advice to anybody, and you do this quite well, and this is why you mesh well and why you're good with podcasting, because this people that podcast, and if you're going to get into this stuff and you're going to do this, and my advice to you is like anything, okay, is if you can make a boring topic interesting, you're going to be successful. That is the thing. Remember that. If you can take boring topics, because some of the topics that we do talk about on our podcast, not everyone's a fucking surefire hit, like, oh my God, people need to hear this. But if you can make it sound interesting, and if you can sound like you at least got some blood flowing through your fucking veins while you're in this podcast, because trust me, there's way too many people in the podcasting game right now that put you to fucking sleep. They have the same delivery. There's no inflection. There's no emotion. It's like, yeah, I didn't really like what Microsoft did yesterday. I can't listen to fucking people like that for 2 fucking hours. You know what? People can say what they fucking like about her. I know Crap Gamer, okay, and I will use the name. People can say what they like about him, all right? I don't follow anymore. But at least when Crap is on podcast, he is entertaining. At least I'll give him that. The guy can have some fun. He's not boring. I like I said, I don't follow. I don't subscribe. Right. I don't follow him.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And I stopped following him a long time before you did. But that was the one thing I didn't have to say.
I literally had my fill of crap, if that makes any sense.
That was the one thing I literally did have to say positive about that guy was he was good in podcasts. The things that come out of his mouth were usually not good, but he was good in podcasts. I'll give him that much. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying, right? Love him or hate him. When that goes for anybody in the podcast, you're not going to like everybody. You're not going to love, or hate everybody. But that's the thing. It's just You got to get the right nucleus of people on your podcast. It's no good to have, especially if you're going to have boring people in your podcast. You don't need fucking 6 or 7 of them, okay? You don't need a fucking football team on your fucking panel to hear one guy say 3 fucking lines. Hey, yeah, that was fucking great last night. And you're like,
What
thanks
about
for
you,
coming
Johnny?
on.
Yeah, it was great. What about
You
you,
know,
Adam?
I
Yeah,
said
it was
that one
great.
time before, and I'm not gonna. And I said this one time before, and I think it was I don't know who's. I think it might have been Boom. Okay, and he had me on a podcast with fucking So Shady and fucking Mooch, and I told Boom after the show in his honest words, I said, Boom, I love you, man, but never fucking put me on a podcast with them two ever again. I said no, because you can't get a fucking word in edge. I couldn't even hear myself fucking think on that podcast. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking out. I'm out. I got better things to do with my 2 hours than fucking sit between a couple of megaphones. You know?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And nothing against either guy. That's not it. But like sometimes,
Yeah.
again, keep your fucking podcasts are getting too big. I've noticed that trend
You're
is
right.
they're getting too many panel members. You said it before we started this one. Keep it fucking smaller. 5 is enough. After that, man, maybe the odd guest, but fucking keep it smaller, keep it entertaining, and fucking keep the pace. That's it. Pace it, entertaining, smaller podcasts, do it better. Just get the right people, try to get some decent topics, and then fucking go kill it. That's it.
I can't agree anymore, man.
There you go.
and have people that disagree every once in a
like
while.
Crispy says, you gotta yell louder. Who's yelling? And
I think
by
I
the
only
way,
went off once tonight, really.
I think Crazy Greek Dude asked, I think it was Crazy in the chat. He wants to hear your line, but he wants to hear you say it.
Let's bring the common back to sense.
There you go. Only Titan can do that line like Titan Drago. That's it. Got the original guy in here. No imitators. Our podcast is not for imitators. It's just for happy masturbators. That's how we roll. All right, Crispy Bomb is in the house. See what's going on. I love those guys. Dreadpool, Crispy Bomb, 2 fucking awesome community members right there, guys. Mr. Kima, thanks for being here and enjoying the show. A lot of you guys stuck around for the whole thing, man. It was awesome. One of our longest podcasts ever now. But yeah, great show, Titan. Thanks for being here, brother. You guys know where to find me. It's Boom Boom Kaboom, Noof Nukem, leaving the room. I'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully Primal is back. We'll keep you posted on Twitter. We'll see you later, guys. Have a great night. Take care and keep it gaming. Keep it real. Go enjoy yourselves. And we're off.